is going on, everybody? Happy Monday, if there's a such thing. Your boy, the Bad Diggity Dizzle, here to talk about our garbage. The garbage that is the New York Giants. Absolute trash. What can I say? Absolute garbage. Garbage, yo. Garbage. I don't know how long I'm going to be live tonight, man. We'll see. I actually took the day off tomorrow at work. I never do that, but I plan on taking a personal day this week. On vacation next week. Looking forward to it. So, I wanted to get it a little bit closer, so I decided to take a day off, which I never do. What's going on? Fuego Dharma, Afghanistan, Lord Commander Manny, Joe Neil Rodriguez, Nick Romano, Dominic DeSaltes, Dark Wolf, Zarbian Overmeyer, Chad Ruff, Notorious HAN, Hunter Gallant. How can I be the man? We need a man. Metal Boy, Evan Spitzberg, Paul Mack, Brett Copork, Johnny Gonzalez, Jeremy KP, Guitar the Hero, Ethan Perita, Triple Crown Media, Todd Taylor, Slot King, JJ Stengel, Darnell Dobson, Will Comics, Nandan. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. My friend Northern Border, he says, I hate seeing the Giants lose. Love seeing Bad Dog Rants. I'm going to change something here. This shadow is really ticking me off on here. So we're just going to go with this. It's not as bad with that background. But I appreciate that, Nandan. It's one thing I can say. You know, I see a lot of people put that. You know, on my videos, they say the Giants may suck, but at least the videos make it better. But I appreciate that. And I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad that my rants and my comedic, whatever you want to say, delivery, I'm glad that you guys and girls enjoy that. It's not like I enjoy making rant videos. And a lot of times things just come out. I just kind of, like I said, I never rehearse what I'm saying. I just, I just go with the flow, and whatever comes out of my mouth does, and that's the way it goes. I don't know. Big Daddy, what's up, buddy? How you doing, my man? Jason the Break, Nasty X, my lady Alabama, Janice in the house. Thank you for being here. Eric Garrison, JJ Stengel, Fuego Dharma. Thank you, buddy. Really appreciate it. It says From looks serviceable. I'm not sold. Yeah, I'm not gonna go crazy over Fromm's performance. Looked like he was confident in the pocket, but obviously they're going against a prevent defense, so I'm not going to read too much into it. But I do think that he should start against Philadelphia. Really, he should start the rest of the year. Daniel Jones obviously was shut down for the entire season today, which is not surprising. I don't see any reason for Daniel Jones to play the rest of the year, and I don't see any reason for Mike Glennon to play the rest of the year either. I just feel like you might as well go forward with Fromm, see what the hell he is. I don't expect a lot. His arm is extremely weak. He does have nice poise in the pocket, but he's got no arm, man. That's something you can't teach. You either got that or you don't. He's gonna have a hard time throwing the ball on those deep outs because the ball just floats on him. But we got nothing to lose. We got 3 games left for 4-10. It's the 5th straight season. The Giants will have 10 losses or more. They've never done that in the franchise. The most they ever had was 3. I believe it was 1978 to 1980. I think they had 3 straight seasons of 10 losses or more, but that's it. This is an absolutely pathetically dark time for our New York Giants, and there's no doubt about it, man. I'm not the only one that's aggravated with it. I can tell by the comments. I can tell by a lot of things. One guy I really started following, or I just recently started following on Twitter. I wish he'd follow me back. I'd like to have him on the show one time. Lawrence Tynes. If you don't follow him on Twitter, Giants fans, follow him, man. He has some of the funniest tweets. He's pretty funny. He's got some good stuff. He's got some good tweets and memes on the New York Giants. So give him a follow. If you give him a follow, if you're on Twitter, follow Lawrence Tynes. It's pretty funny. Turn 3, yes, it is, buddy. It certainly is. There's no doubt about that. It's been a rough season. I don't even know what to say, man. I'm at my wit's end with this. I do enjoy doing these Monday night. I like the victory. I like the victory laps a lot better than these therapy sessions. But, the Giants are draining me, man. Like, I don't know. Everything is just a joke. Like, we're the punchline of every joke. Like, it really can't get worse. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw it. You follow him, Evan? Nice. I don't know much about Tyler Huntley, Garrett. You talking about that kid that played for Baltimore last night? Listen, there's guys that are playing without players. They're down to their second and third string quarterbacks, their third and fourth string linemen, and they do okay. There's no excuse for us. I'm just so sick of the excuses about the injuries. I'm so sick about, we don't know. We know our head coach stinks. We know our quarterback. He might have played his last game for the New York Giants. Sterling Shepard probably played his last game for the New York Giants. You hate to see anybody get hurt like Shep did, but I can't imagine Shepard's going to be back. He ain't going to be back by next year. He tore his Achilles tendon. I mean, he's probably done. There'll be a lot of changes, and I really wish the changes would be the general manager outside of the organization, a new head coach, new coaching staff. Everything needs to be fresh. If we come back here with Kevin Abrams and Joe Judge, expect a lot of the same in 2022. Expect a lot of the same. It's going to be the same type of philosophy. So expect a lot of the same. A lot of people are still blaming Jason Garrett. People are like, it's his playbook. You don't think Freddie Kitchens could come up with his own playbook in a month's time? Freddie Kitchens was forced to keep Jason Garrett's playbook. That's BS. It's BS. It's complete BS. This is completely BS. Freddie Kitchens can make up his own playbook if he wanted to. I don't buy that for a minute that they're just looking at Jason Garrett's playbook. So, Benjamin, thank you, buddy. I really appreciate the super chat. Thank you, my man. He says, we need some victory streams. Gosh darn it, enough of all the negative streams. I heard from a PI that Dom gets every time he sees Max KP and Brandon Rogers in the chat. Well, luckily, Benjamin, we never see any of them in the chat. KP tunes in once in a while. We don't ever see Max or Brandon's never in these streams anymore. I never see Brandon anymore at all. Benjamin, you crack me up, buddy. I appreciate you. I always appreciate you coming in and bringing the levity and making me laugh. Lord knows I need it. We need it. Genuel Belandros, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. He says, not a Giants fan, not even an NFL fan, but I feel you when your club struggles and has bad management. So I appreciate that. It's been bad, Genuel. It has been really bad. Not just this year, but like I said, man, the last 5 years, it has really just been a joke. It's been really, really bad. It's been the worst I've ever seen. And like I said, there's guys that grew up in the 70s when it was terrible, and they say this is worse. From 64 to 80, this team didn't make the playoffs. And there's guys that grew up in that era that say this is actually worse. That tells you how bad this is. John Schmidt, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, this may be the most uninterested I've been watching the games ever. I've just been betting against us and at least making money off my misery. Smart. And that's probably what you should do. Make some money, make the game interesting. Because, unless you got money on it, it's really tough. It's really, really tough to enjoy the game for any reason. It's been terrible. It really has. It's been really, really bad. My man Bones is in the house. What's going on, Bones? He says, I froze my ass off with the Giants game. Didn't even see from start. Was too disgusted at the end of the fourth and I left. I don't blame you, sir. I told you when you said you were going to that game, I said, God bless you, man. We got to meet up next year, Bones. I'm going next year. Definitely going to a game next year, but it probably will not be in November, December. I want to make sure I go like in September or October. I'd like to go somewhere in there where the weather is actually pretty decent. So we're not freezing, and that's so you don't have to save some lady's life. I'll never forget that as long as I live. Bones saving that lady's life. Got trapped in where the dumpster is. She got caged in. Bones had to let her out of there. She would have froze to death that day. It was cold. Dashy, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, my good man. He says, Bengals lead the AFC North. Thank God the Browns lost to the Raiders. The Browns went from leading the AFC North if they won to being in last place. The AFC North is insane. It's a good win for you, Dash. It was a good win for you yesterday. That AFC North is going right down to the last week. That's going to be pretty awesome. Our division is settled already. The Cowboys won the division. Not official. Their magic numbers won. So they're going to win the division. So, like I said, the AFC North would be a lot of fun to watch, for sure. But yeah, appreciate you guys and girls being here. Do I think Joe Judge can still be fired? William, it's a great question. From everything that I've read and everything that I've heard, it seems like he will not be fired, that he will be coming back next year. But I mean, if we finish 4-13 and we continue to get embarrassed, I mean, the thing is, William, how can John Mara, and John Mara don't care about the fans. I mean, that's blatantly obvious. And I don't know if you guys heard this. I mentioned this last night, okay, during a Laker stream. The Giants, it wasn't a medium soda for every season ticket. It was only for the people on the account. So if one person owned the 4 tickets, so say I bought a ticket, say you're a family of 4, say your dad, your mom, 2 kids. The dad buys 4 tickets. They're under his name. The 4 tickets are under his name, but he has 4 season tickets. Only the dad got the soda. Only the person with the name on the tickets gets a soda. So if you own 4 tickets, if I had 4 season tickets and it was in my name, I was the only one that got the soda, not the other 3 people. So that made it even worse. Even worse. Only the people on the account got the soda, not even all the season ticket holders. Jeffy, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Thanks so much for the super chat, brother. He says, Will Hernandez, in a word, is a word that is worse than suck. We ain't going to worry about him much longer, my man. He won't be back next year. He will not be back next year. So, Anthony, what's going on, buddy? He says, condolences, fellow Giants fans. Hopefully this ship gets righted before I leave this earth. Tired of losing. You're not alone. We're all tired of losing. We are all tired of losing. Yeah, Dash, I have that game on right now, obviously, because the Bears losing helps the Giants. They're down 17-3. They're terrible. The Giants are going to have 2 top 6 picks. They might end up with 2 top 5 picks. We can't screw this up this year. We can't screw this draft. We really need a guy that knows what the hell he's doing in that GM spot. This is really important, what they do with those picks. Very, very important what they do with those picks. Without a doubt. So, I don't know. Sloppy Joe does not believe in quick fix. No, who was her name? The former Raiders executive, Amy Trask, kind of came out and ripped them. And said something about quick fixes. Joe Judge he ain't it, man. He ain't it. Are the Giants a new Jets? No, because the Jets are still jetting. The Jets are still the Jets. The Jets suck. The Jets are still the Jets. We might be the new Browns. They are the new Jets. The Jets are still the Jets. The Jets haven't changed. The Jets are still pretty bad. They're pretty bad. Who would I take with those picks, Bishop? I would like to address the offensive line with both of them, if possible. Definitely one of them. I really like Tyler Linderbaum, but if they only go one, I would like to see them, address both sides of the line. I'd like to see him get an edge rusher. We need one badly. And I'd like to see him get a lineman. I could definitely see Nakobe Dean being a Giant. And another thing I would like to do, I mean, honestly, Bishop, I'd love to see the Giants trade one of those picks back for a lot of draft capital and take a lineman. So if we have the 5 and 6, you take a lineman at number 5, like a Linderbaum, or maybe Evan Neal drops. You take him there. Hopefully you can trade back somewhere and get some more future firsts. And that way you can really build a team. But I definitely, if we're not trading back, I definitely want to address both sides of the line. The game is still one of the trenches, and if you watch us, we're getting pushed around up front. Teams can run the ball down our throat all day long because we play that soft zone and our guys just don't stand up. And then obviously our offensive line needs a lot of work. It's not, like I said, it's not nearly as bad as people make it out to be. We don't really run block very well. That's been an issue. But Glennon had time to throw. I say it all the time. It's not like Daniel Jones or Glennon would drop back. As soon as he is back foot, he was dead every time. Sometimes that happened. When teams know we're going to pass and they blitz, yeah, you're in trouble. That's why you got to be able to run the ball. So on 3rd and 4, you're not as predictable. 3rd and 11, they're going to come after you. Of course, an offensive line is going to get beat when they send 6 guys. So that's why you have to learn to run the ball. We really need it. If we would have just taken Creed Humphrey like I asked, he's the best center in football. I love the guy, man. David Bialaglo, thank you, man. I really appreciate the generosity, my man. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, I hear the Giants are going to offer a medium fry and a large soda next game. They are trying to attract Andy Reid over here as a head coach. How much more do they have to, for Andy Reid? They'd have to give him a buffet. They'd have to give Andy Reid a buffet of whatever, all of his favorites, during halftime and after the game. I think they would have to do that. Seemed like my camera got dark there. I think they'd have to do that to get Andy Reid over here. But I know you guys saw on Twitter, I put it on Instagram too. They're going to make the Mike Glennon Pez dispensers, and they're going to give those out next year. That's what I think they're going to do. By the way, I've never really had a tweet blow up like the one that I put on there yesterday. That was pretty cool. I had almost 1,700 likes, man. I got retweeted like 220 times. I never have anything like that, and I don't even know where that came from. I thought that was great. I said, man, when I tweeted that out, I go, you know what? That was pretty damn good. That was pretty creative. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. You know how the term is, somebody says something and you're like, yeah, that's nothing. Hold my beer. So I said, Jaguars fans say pretty much our offense sucks. Giants fans say, hold my medium soda. I'm glad that people enjoyed that. Glad. Yuri, thank you for the super chat, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. This Philly 500. I don't want Justin Jefferson. He's ass, is what he said. We're going to see, yes. Sunday, we get to see him in a Giants jersey. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas. Philly 500 and Giants blue. If I got anything out of it this year, at least I won that bet. At least I didn't have to wear and I know it breaks Benjamin's heart. Benjamin wanted to see me in the Kelly Green Eagles booger jersey. I know that broke his heart, but that was the best thing that happened to me all year. Was winning that game and not having to wear the Kelly Green Eagles jersey and have to watch Philly 500 stream any Mark Bavaro jersey. That made my season. And let's beat the Eagles. Let's sweep their ass. Let's knock them out of the playoffs. We got nothing else. Find a way to win on Sunday. Beat them. I don't care about anything else. Beat them, sweep them. I want to hold that over their head the entire year. You're going to say we're this bad and you couldn't beat. I want to hold that over their head so bad. So bad. I doubt we're going to win, but maybe if Fromm starts, we got a prayer. We got a wing and a prayer. I don't know. Zachary, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat, my good man. He says, can we fire Joe Judge into the Hackensack River? Yeah, I'd like to throw Joe Judge behind me. I said in one of my post games, Zachary, that Joe Judge should be doing laps around the Hudson River with cement shoes. I'm telling you, man, I've never disliked Coach Moore. I dislike Joe Judge. Like I said, Pat Shurmur, I had a lot of venom for Pat Shurmur. At least Shurmur was not like an arrogant ass for a team that was terrible. Joe Judge is that guy. Joe Judge is not likable to me. He's just not. Pat Shurmur, I didn't think was a good coach, but at least he was likable. Like I liked him as a guy. He just was a bad coach. I don't like Joe Judge at all as a person, and I think he's a bad coach. I think he's a terrible coach. Johnny, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Thanks so much. He says, Stella. I actually got the Allagash White tonight. One more beer. I didn't drink them all yesterday, so I got one left. He says, you're the best, my friend. How can I be the best when you're the best, Johnny? Merry Christmas to you and your family. Make sure Little Bad Dog wears a Fred Barnett jersey. Fred Barnett. I'm old enough to remember Fred Barnett. I'm old enough to remember him and Mike Quick and Anthony Tony. I'm old enough to remember those guys. Keith Jackson. I'm old enough to remember Fred Barnett. Yep. Good one, Johnny. Good one. And he says fly eagles into the side of a building. I love you, buddy. Thank you, and Merry Christmas to you if I don't see you. I'm sure I'll see you before Christmas, though. Chevy, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. He says, hope the best recovery for Jones and Shep. Yeah, obviously, like I said, Jeffy, they very well could have played their last game with the Giants, both of them. I do think Daniel Jones will be back in 2022. I don't know if he'll make it through the whole season. We'll see what the Giants do as far as the quarterbacks go. I have a gut feeling he'll be back, but you never know. We really don't know. It is possible he played his last game for the Giants. I'm definitely saying Sterling Shepard has played his last game for the Giants. Definitely. He will be out pretty much the entire next season, and his contract is up, and he's not going to come back. Prison Mike, thank you, brother. Really appreciate the super chat, my man. Thank you. He says, Russell Wilson or user draft picks on an offensive tackle, and George Karlaftis, the pass rusher from Purdue. I've seen him mocked to the Giants. I would also like to draft Nakobe Dean. I like Nakobe Dean a lot. I don't want to trade the draft picks for Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's going to be 34. His best days are behind him. He's dealt with some injury problems. And honestly, I just don't think we're a quarterback away from being competitive. Russell Wilson is not going to come in here and win a Super Bowl. We have too many holes. We have too many deficiencies on both sides of the ball. We really need those, and we have limited cap space, so we really need these draft picks. We really need to hit on these draft picks if we're going to be good in the future. We're not going to be good in 2022, but you would like to get some good draft picks that make you better, and then you continue to build in the draft. I'd much rather do that. If we're going to get a quarterback, in trade for one, I would go Deshaun Watson because he's much younger and he's going into the prime of his career. And I just feel like he's got more in the tank right now. But I really don't want to use the draft picks for Russell Wilson. Not a top 10. Not a top. Like I said, if we could get rid of one of those top 10s I don't know. If you could trade back and get rid of I don't know. If you get rid of a couple players and not have to give up a top 10 pick, I'd be fine with that. But I don't want to use them for Russell. John, thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. He says, Joe Judge's wife asking him, how was your day? He would reply, well, we got to look at the tape. He probably would. He's like, I got to look at the tape right there. I wonder if Joe Judge is married. I wonder what kind of con job he fed his wife to get her to marry him. Can you imagine his wedding vows? Do you, Joe Judge, take such and such to be your lawfully wedded life through sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, till death do you part? Well, I got to look at the tape right there. I'll get back to you. Got to look at the tape. You imagine that? Bono, thank you, brother. How you doing, my good man? I appreciate you being here. I saw you in Kim's stream last. I stopped in Kim's stream real quick. She was like halfway through it. I kind of had it in the background, but I noticed you in there. Good to see you, sir. I hope you're doing well. I know you said you've been really busy. He says, I love you, man. I'm just kidding. No, you're not. It's all good. It's all good, Moto. I love you too, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being an awesome supporter of the channel, my friend. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. I know, like I said, I know truck drivers are busy, especially this time of year. You got to be going crazy. But I appreciate you swinging by, my good man. Thank you so much for the super chat. Nandan, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super chat, my friend at North of the Border. He says, Giants are a Travis Sham mockery. Do you guys remember the Bud Light commercial? It was like Triple H, and I don't remember the other people. I just remember Triple H. And they were saying it's a Travis, it's a sham, and it's a mockery. And then somebody said it's a Travis sham mockery, and they threw a penalty. It was like the man rules or something. And they threw a flag, and they said no making up of the words. But the Giants are exactly that. They're a Travis sham mockery. That is exactly what they are. They stink. They stink. Fuego Dharma, thank you so much. I appreciate you. He says, know a guy whose wife went to high school judge in PA and said he was a real D-bag and F the Eagles. Both of those statements are true, I would imagine. Do you really know a guy whose wife went to high school? That wouldn't surprise me. He seems like he's got that kind of attitude where he's just a dipstick. Beanie Docs, thank you, brother. I really appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Joe Judge treats timeouts like water. He couldn't let that last timeout go, right, guys? The timeout. He had to take that timeout before the half. He could not go into the half with a timeout. There was no way. Had to call that timeout for the 27-yarder. That had to happen. He can't go into it. He can't help himself. That's what I'm talking about, man. The people talk about, oh, players are hurt. He's got no talent. Didn't stop people from killing Jason Garrett. Didn't stop anybody from killing Jason Garrett. Nobody said, well, let's give Jason Garrett a break because the players are hurt and whatever. You know, the play calling's terrible. It's Jason Garrett. Nobody said everybody's hurt, players are no good, but they want to say that for Joe Judge. They want to say it for Daniel Jones. I don't understand. I had some guy on Twitter say to me, and I don't even respond to it. But this guy says to me, he goes, How many videos did you make talking about firing Jason Garrett, and now you're sad that he's gone? I didn't make one video, not one, not a one where I said I want Jason Garrett fired. I never said that. I made a video that asked, would the Giants be better off if they did fire him? And then when they did fire Jason Garrett, I made a video about that. And right in that video, I said, that is not going to change anything. Firing Jason Garrett will not change anything. And it hasn't. If anything, they've gotten worse. So that makes me laugh. But again, I'm not trying to say Jason Garrett was great and Jason Garrett should have stayed. I'm not saying any of that. But Joe Judge threw him under the bus. And my point is, if you're going to make all these excuses for Joe Judge about the players are hurt and this and this and this and this, well, Jason Garrett had to deal with the same exact thing. So why is Jason Garrett the scapegoat? Like, I just don't understand it. He's a former Cowboy, so of course, you got to rip Jason Garrett. Dr. Garrett. Janice, my lady, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. She says the tapes Judge and his wife are watching are not game tapes. Maybe I was thinking the same. When that guy mentioned that his wife and the tapes, I thought the same thing. I don't want to think about that, Janice. That just scarred my retina just thinking about it. Joe Judge. Joe Judge is kind of built like an eggplant or a pear. Ain't he? Joe Judge looks like a big pear, and it doesn't surprise me. Joe Judge, you know what Joe Judge is built like? He is built like a pear. So it's just a big pair of underwear. He's like the Fruit of the Loom guy. That's what Joe Judge is built like, the Fruit of the Loom guy. So every time you look at Joe Judge, just think about a big pair of underwear. That's Joe Judge. A big pair of skid-marked underwear. That's what we got as our head coach. Joe Judge, Fruit of the Loom guy. That's him. Jay Late, thank you, brother. Really appreciate the super chat. Thank you, my man. He says, we should cut all excess fat off the team, drop, trade Bradbury, Martinez, Rudolph, Barkley, and Ingram, build the O-line, other key positions, and after Manning is available, I give up. I agree with everything you said. Cut everybody you can and save cap space. I've also been with the Barkley thing for 2 years now. I said I thought the Giants should listen to trade offers. And again, people are like, he's hurt. He's coming off of some guy tells me, if you lose you toward your ACL, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't need to know what I'm talking about. He's like, if he was running like Derrick Henry, you would be saying that. He ain't running like Derrick Henry. And I do know a lot about the human body. I'm in pretty good shape. I take pretty good care of myself. I understand the way tendons work. I understand the way muscles work. Am I an expert? Did I go to college for it? No. But as a guy that's worked out for 11 years, I can tell you a lot about the human body. A lot about it. So, I don't know. People are funny with Barkley. They were funny with Beckham, too. Fuego, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you. He says, yes, he was the high school quarterback. Oh, that's why he has the attitude. That's why he has the attitude. That's why. Jay Lane, thank you, brother. But you didn't have to super chat again. I think you meant, I know what you meant. I don't know why I didn't say it, but yes, Arch Manning. I like Caleb Williams. I'll be honest, Jay, if we could get Bryce Young next year, I'd be all for Bryce Young. I'd be all for Bryce Young if we could get him. We'll see. We'll see what we do. I don't want to wait till 2026 for Arch Manning. I hope we're not looking for a quarterback in 2026, Jay. I hope that we find a quarterback and he's our future quarterback for years. Jonas or Ujwal Singh, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Merry Christmas, Bad Dog. What's going on, Ujwal Singh? One of my Lakers. I'll be live for the Lakers and Suns tomorrow, my man. You know that. Hopefully they win. They're down a lot of players. They really lost a heartbreaker last night. Damn Lakers can't make free throws to save their life, man. They could have beat Chicago last night. They could have beat them. They could have beat them. Do I want to get rid of Daniel Jones? Not really. Like I said, DJ, I think the Giants, I'm already kind of throwing 2022 away. I say build up the offensive line. Build it up. Use your first 3 picks for the offensive line. I don't care because one of 2 things are going to happen. I'm not giving Daniel Jones a 5th-year extension. I don't give a damn. Because when people talk about, oh, he'd be great with an offensive line, he'd be this, that's speculation. We don't know what he would be. We don't know what he would be behind a decent offensive line. We have no idea. No clue. None. That's pure speculation. He could still be the same guy that can't make decisions and can't throw his receivers open. Time or no time. He could still not have any pocket awareness or pocket presence. He could still be that. Why is that there? Hold on one second. Let me get rid of something here. What is this? There we go. So I don't know, but I just feel like Daniel Jones should be the guy next year because I don't like any of these quarterbacks. And like I said, unless we get trade back into the 20s and get future draft capital, and then you want to draft the Kenny Pickett back there, or you want to draft the Malik Willis at 23 or 24, I can get on board with that. I don't want to use a top 6 pick for quarterback. I do not want to reach like we did with Daniel Jones. Fact of the matter is we reach with Daniel Jones. I don't care how bad the offensive line is. I don't care how many players are hurt. I don't care about none of that. Good quarterback raises the level of his teammates. Justin Herbert had a terrible offensive line last year. Horrible. Guess what? Dude balled out. Threw over 30 touchdowns last year. So why can he do it with a bad offensive line? How come Joe Burrow? The Bengals have one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Joe Burrow's pretty good. It's always an excuse. Always. Talking Eco, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for that super chat. He says, Giants need to give Jim Harbaugh a blank check with him writing his own contract. I want a competent coach now. Jim Harbaugh is definitely a very popular name. I don't know if he would be the guy. I think if Harbaugh wins a national title in Michigan, I think he could walk away from Michigan because he would have accomplished that and then go back to the NFL. I would definitely take Harbaugh. There's no doubt. I would take a Jim Harbaugh on this team in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. But our owner's an incompetent fool. You know, he's a jackass. He don't know what he's doing. So, you know, that probably wouldn't happen. But I would love him. I would love him. There's no doubt about it. That one guy, some quarterbacks, you can tell if they have it, Jones doesn't have it. I agree. You can tell, good or bad, if that quarterback's got what it takes. Would he be better with an offensive line? Absolutely. He would be better. Would he be the guy? It's pure speculation. And I'm not about to give the guy $21 million on speculation because we have to pick up that 5th-year option before the season starts. Not doing that. Not giving him $21 million. Not worth it to me. Not worth it to me. Do I want Coughlin back? No, Coughlin's too old. Coughlin's done. Coughlin needs to retire, enjoy the rest of his life. He don't need the stress, the long hours of coaching, you know. What I like CJ Stroud, I do not like Ohio State quarterbacks, so I would say no. I don't like Ohio State quarterbacks. I don't like Florida quarterbacks. I don't like USC quarterbacks. Do not like them. Everybody's talking about Justin Fields. Justin Fields stinks. Justin Fields is terrible. If you looked at Justin Fields' numbers, they're awful. That guy's not an NFL quarterback. I'm glad the Bears traded up to get him. He's not an NFL, and he's going to get hurt just like he has. He runs too much. He is a faster version of Jalen Hurts, maybe with a better arm than Hurts, but he's not. He is like a Jalen Hurts. He's not a guy that's going to beat you dropping back 45 times. He's a guy that's going to beat you with his legs. He ain't going to beat you with his arm. I just don't like it. I feel like teams that run spread offenses and teams that match it, teams that have such superior talent in college compared to the teams they're playing, it doesn't always give you an idea of how good the quarterback is. This is why I said Daniel Jones would be better than Dwayne Haskins for that reason. And I felt like if Daniel Jones was at Ohio State, he would have put up great numbers there. And if Dwayne Haskins was on Duke, he never would have got drafted. You know, so I don't know. I just don't like Ohio State guys. I never have. There's just colleges I don't want. And you can throw Duke in there too. Never give me another damn Duke quarterback as long as I live. Never. I had to deal with Dave Brown for a few years. Now I had to deal with Daniel Jones for a few years. Daniel Jones better than Dave Brown, but not by much. I don't need Duke quarterbacks in my life with the New York Giants anymore. Do not. Beanie Docs, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, I'm 16, never really seen the Giants good. No, because you would have been what, 6 when they won the Super Bowl. So you probably wouldn't remember it. He says, my dad and my grandfather are season ticket holders. I vaguely remember the Super Bowl, never really seen them good, and I don't know if I ever will. This is all I can say, Beanie. When I was younger, and we're going way back into the 80s, the Yankees were the best team in sports. The Yankees always had dynasties, right? The 1980s were the only decade the Yankees never won a championship. And they never made they made the World Series in 1981. I was 5, so I didn't see that. I had to go the entire 80s. They got close a couple times, never made the playoffs. I had to deal with the terrible early 90s, and then they made the wild card in 95, and they lost in heartbreaking fashion. And they won the World Series in 1996. When I was 20, I never thought I'd see them win either. So there's really no advice I can give you. You just got to hope things turn around. That's all we can hope for. It's one advantage of being my age. I'm almost 30 years older than you, is that I got to see the glory days for the New York Giants. It seems like the Giants go in these cycles, and they're in the bad one right now, and hopefully they figure it out. You'll never stop rooting for them. You know, my dad and grandfather, we used to go to the Yankee games all the time. And before I got to see the Yankees win a World Series, my dad had saw the 70s dynasty, you know, and he was a little young in the 60s, in the early 60s. My dad was born in 54, so he was kind of young in 61, 62 when they went back-to-back. Probably doesn't remember that as well as he did Reggie, Mickey Rivers, Thurman Munson, Ron Guidry, all those Yankees. My grandfather saw a ton of them. My grandfather saw DiMaggio. My grandfather saw Whitey Ford, Mickey Mantle. He saw the 30s dynasty and the 50s dynasty and the 60s dynasty and the 70s dynasty. And I always say, where's my dynasty? And I got my dynasty in the late 90s. So you'll get it. It'll come around eventually. Hopefully it's sooner than later, my man. Hopefully it's sooner than later. Ty Guy, thank you, brother. Really appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. He says, I'm sorry for what happened to New York sports teams from Boston. Seeing our rivals fall brings me no joy. The Jets, Giants, etc. regress is brutal. I appreciate that. It has been rough. It's been a rough go. The Giants will rebound, though, eventually. They will. Eventually they will get better. But it has been rough, Ty Guy. It definitely has, especially with the Yankees for me, because I expect so much out of the Yankees, and they're not really good. Sorry about that. Benjamin, man, thank you for being there for 12 months, brother. I appreciate it. He says, I'm just hoping Don would grow the hell up since he's 28. That he admits he's a closeted KB fan. And I know this because there was never any proof of cute Iowa girls. And, he ain't a member. Dom's not a member? Oh, I thought Dominic was a member. I didn't even notice that. I love Dominic, though. Dominic's the man. Dominic is the man. And I've said before, Benjamin, how do we know that there is any cute Iowa girls? How do we know? How do we know if there's any cute Iowa girls? Kenny, my man, 518, represent, Kenny. He says Dave Brown looks like a superstar. Kenny, I told you, man, the Giants ain't been good since they left Albany, right? They were here in 2012 in Albany. They were 9-7. One winning season since they left Albany. I don't need to say any more. They go to that cushy Metroplex garbage thing in Jersey. Oh, it's all new and blah, blah, blah. Instead of playing that old school division, well, actually SUNY Albany is Division I, but they're terrible. That turf over there, playing in that college and sleeping in the dorm rooms. Actually having to slum it a little bit. They did like the gentlemen's clubs up here, that I do know. But they had to slum it, and it made them a little bit tougher. And then they go down there and they don't win anything. It's terrible. It's terrible. Stanley, what's going on, buddy? He says, hey, Bad Dog, what's up with the Giants playing this chew clock? I don't know what their deal is, Stanley. Their offense doesn't make any sense. It's absolutely brutal watching them. Absolutely brutal. It is like a root canal with no Novocaine. That's what that is. It's painful. Thank you, Wonderlish. Appreciate that. I wanted to get an Expos hat. I should have got the Expos hat. I saw an Expos hat. I used to love the Montreal Expos logo. It was one of these 47s. It's hard to find hats that fit my head correctly because I got such a small head, but these fit good. I got this one in the Yankee hat. I should have bought the Expo one. Next time I'm over in Lee, Massachusetts, I'll grab it. But yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Beanie Docs, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Who's the best wide receiver in Giants history? To me, it's Monty Toomer. Monty Toomer had longevity. Monty Toomer was consistent. Monty Toomer won a Super Bowl. I have to go with Monty Toomer. I feel like a Monty Toomer was the equivalent of what Bernie Williams was to the Yankees. Not a Hall of Fame guy, but a really, really, really good player, an above average wide receiver, a guy that was clutch, a guy that you could count on. I feel like it's a Monty Toomer. Most talented receiver was Beckham. We've never had a receiver the caliber of Odell Beckham, but his tenure here was short-lived, and he kind of fell off with the injuries, and he played here for 4 years, so I can't go him. And same thing with Victor Cruz. Victor Cruz really burst onto the scene. Really had a couple of good years, and obviously he had the ACL tear. He missed a couple of years. He was never the same. So I gotta go Monty Toomer. Would I take any of the first round of Bama QB? I would take Bryce Young. He's not coming out this year, but I do like Bryce Young a lot. That game against Georgia really impressed me. I would take a shot at him. Definitely. I like your tackle, though. I like Evan Neal. Take him too. Where did that go? Mark says Joe Namath won a Super Bowl with the Jets because he had huge confidence. The Jets haven't had none in years. They suck. You know why Joe Namath won that Super Bowl? Matt Snell and the Jets defense. Jets defense forced 5 turnovers. Colts really shot themselves in the foot. They threw 2 interceptions. Well, they threw a couple of they missed a 27-yard field goal. Then they threw an interception in the end zone twice. Johnny Nice threw an interception in the end zone. Earl Morrill threw an interception in the end zone. Tom Addy fumbled. I think at the beginning of the fourth quarter. They Colts turned the ball over a lot in that game. But Namath definitely had confidence. Namath is a pimp. I love Broadway Joe. He was an Alabama quarterback. It's funny, because if you think about this, Mac Jones is pretty good, but Alabama really hadn't had a good quarterback since Kenny Stabler. Like, they had good quarterbacks. They had Bart Starr, they had Joe Namath, then they had Kenny Stabler, and then it kind of stopped for a long time. And now they got one, Mac Jones. Dashy, thank you so much for the super sticker, brother. I appreciate you, my man. Yeah. I got a triple spin on that one. I got a triple spin out of that. Kenny, what's going on, buddy? Says, hey, Bad Dog, this is a tough week as a Giant. It's been a tough few years. I can't wait for the end of the season. That makes 2 of us. So we could start getting rid of everybody. Kenny, I hope I think a lot of us Giants fans want them to clean house. They want to get rid as many players, coaches, GMs as we can and start fresh. The problem is our owner has his head up his tuchus and he can't see anything and he's senile and I don't think he knows what the hell he's doing. I'm with you. I really do hope that they get rid of like as many people as they can and get an entirely, it's just so many player personnel, coordinators, coaches, whatever. I just don't know. I don't know what's going to go on with that. Tua did go to Alabama. I still don't know what Tua is right now. He's had a decent year. I don't know what Tua is going to be. Tua's got to stay healthy. Tua's biggest problem in Alabama was injury. And then, of course, he was injured at Miami. He's had a pretty good year this year. Miami's obviously making a run at the playoffs. I hope they make it because the Eagles have their pick. So I hope that they make it. Curry, thank you, brother. I appreciate the super chat. Who do you think? I want them to go on the line, Curry. Offensive line. Offensive line. That's what I want them to take care of this year. They got it. They got to build that. That's what I want to do. That doesn't mean they're going to do it. I really don't know what they're going to do. You know, I never in a million years thought that they would draft Daniel Jones. I never thought that they would draft Kadarius Toney. Andrew Thomas, I thought that was a possibility. Kadarius Toney, didn't see it coming. Definitely did not see Daniel Jones coming. So I'm not sure. I don't know who we're going to draft. I hope we do go with some linemen, though. Anthony, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Paisano. Merry Christmas, Bear Dog and Familia. Buona notte. Thank you, buddy. Merry Christmas to you, too, sir. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. I might be live on Christmas for that Laker game. I'm pretty sure I can do that. Pretty sure I can do that. Yes, the Alabama did have some really good ones back in the day, Mark, for sure. What about Stephen Baker? No, I know. Again, Stephen Baker didn't have a really long career here. He was pretty good. I mean, obviously, he was a part of the 1990 championship team, as was Mark Ingram. I thought they were about the same type of receiver. They were good, but I can't put him up there with like Amani Toomer. I just think Amani Toomer is the best. And again, Baker wasn't here for all that long. Stephen Baker, Mark Ingram, kind of like Mario Manningham. Like I kind of would put them in that category. Maybe a little bit better than Mario Manningham, but I don't think they're as good as Hakeem Nicks. Like I think Hakeem Nicks is a little bit better than Baker and Mark Ingram. BD Docs, thank you, brother. Really appreciate the super chat. I liked Jalen Smith's on Sunday. He's fast and doesn't give up on the play. Yeah, we'll see what the Giants do with Jalen Smith. We'll see. I don't really know. He again, I think a guy like Jalen Smith has a lot to prove. Obviously, he went to the Packers. They cut him. He ended up on the Giants practice squad because of a lack of bodies. He got to play. So obviously, I don't know how much he's going to play the rest of the year, but for him, it's probably an audition to say, hey, I can still play in this league. So I do think you're going to get the best of Jalen Smith for the rest of the season, for sure, because he's got a lot to prove. David, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Am I good, man? He says, good evening, Bad Dog. I'm of the belief that Jags are the absolute worst team in the NFL. Removing Urban Meyer removed the drama, but Bevel is the reason our offense sucks. You're going to be much better off now that you got rid of that freaking cancer. David, and you know it. I told you at the beginning of the year. I told you Urban Meyer will not make it out of the year. I told you Urban Meyer would not make it through the year in Jacksonville. He's garbage. That's the best thing that could have happened to Trevor Lawrence is that. Bevel won't be there next year. That's the best thing that happened to them. And like I said on Twitter, David, when you say our offense sucks, Giants fans say, hold my medium soda. Your offense isn't nearly as bad as ours. The last 2 out of 3 weeks, we ain't even scored a touchdown. We have scored one touchdown in 3 weeks. That is absolutely pathetic. We had almost as many turnovers as points on Sunday. We turned it over 4 times. We had 6 points. What a joke. What a joke. Am I a small quarterback? I'm not really a small school quarterback. I like Oklahoma quarterbacks. I loved Baker. Baker's not as good as I thought he would be. I loved Kyler. Not really a big fan of Hurts. Hurts is more of a Bama guy. He transferred to Oklahoma. I really like Caleb Williams. But there's definitely small school guys. Purdue's not a big school. Drew Brees went there. Obviously, Carson Wentz went to what? North Dakota State? I always get that and South Dakota State mixed up. I forget where he went. Tony Romo went to Eastern Illinois. So it is possible that they can come out of small schools. But it's not like I'm like, oh, I like quarterbacks out of small schools. Like I said, I just don't like USC quarterbacks. They always suck. So I said Sam Darnold would suck. Sam Darnold sucks. Matt Leinart sucks. I knew he would suck too. Carson Palmer is the only decent USC quarterback I've seen in my life. They're just not good. And Ohio State never produces good quarterbacks. They produce quarterbacks that turn into wide receivers. Terrell Pryor, Cardale Jones. I don't even know if Cardale Jones made it in the NFL. Dwayne Haskins. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Bobby Hoying, what the hell did he ever do? There's just in Florida, who came out of Florida? Danny Werfel. Didn't Danny Werfel win a Heisman? Garbage. Tim Tebow won a Heisman. Garbage. There's just certain schools that don't set up the quarterbacks for NFL systems. And that's why I just don't like those three schools in particular. I mean, anywhere else is fine. I don't like those schools. I don't know. I just don't like them. Jeffy, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Yes, he says Steve Smith is great too. Incredible route runner. I think I still have this. I think I showed you guys this before. He was my favorite Giant on those teams. My Steve Smith autograph jersey. See that? Look at that. We used to be Beanie Docs. See, we used to be good. We used to be good. But yeah, I loved his jersey. He was my favorite Giant when he played there. I did love Steve Smith. He was really good. He was a really good route runner, really good hands. I did like Steve Smith a lot, Jeffy. He was good. Benjamin, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. He says, I'm not going to lie, man. It's not a blessing whatsoever when we're stuck with KP, his hubby sports. I never see Brandon anymore. I don't even know if Brandon's on YouTube anymore. And like I said, Max never comes in here. I see Max in Uncle Lou's streams all the time. He's never in these streams. Once in a great while. I don't see Max very often now. Oh my God, Mark Bavaro all day, every day, County. That's not even close. Not even close. You give me Mark Bavaro any day over Shockey. And not even close. Not even close to me. I loved Bavaro. Bavaro was an absolute stud, a beast. Not only was he a great receiver as a tight end, the dude was one of the best blockers in the NFL. And we all know what he did to San Francisco. We all know that guy. Mark Bavaro was so tough against New Orleans in '86. He broke his jaw. He broke his jaw in the game. And he came out and he played. They went and wired his jaw shut, and he came back and played in the game. Didn't miss a game with a broken jaw. That dude was grit personified. I freaking love Bavaro. Love Mark Bavaro. Robert, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. He says, couldn't send lick my... I get the point, Robert. Thank you, buddy. Happy holidays to you, my man. Michael Velez got jokes. Pavaro Ingram. Oh, man. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I don't know if I've ever seen a worse tight end that we've had. Maybe Derek Brown. He was pretty bad. He was a first-round draft pick out of Notre Dame in the 90s. He never did anything. God almighty. I mean, I would say that I would say we've had so many tight ends that are better than him. Larry Donnell was better than Evan Ingram. I do remember the Bavaro play against Ronnie Lott. I do remember that. Start of the second half. That was the second half drive. Giants were down 17-0 in that game. They came back to win it. I do remember that. Do I think Barkley ever returned to 2018 form? It's possible, right? I just don't think you're going to see it with the Giants. Barkley will not be back in 2023. He may be back next year. He will not be back in 2023. The Giants are not going to give him a second contract, and they shouldn't. Not unless it's cheap. Not unless it's cheap. Not unless it's pretty much what he's going to get in his fifth-year option, which is $7.2 million. Maybe if you can sign Barkley to a 1 or 2 year deal at like $10 million, or if you could sign him to a 1 or 2 year deal at like $8 million with incentives to get it up to like 12 or 13 million, like he'd have to play a certain amount of snaps. He gets an incentive for playing a certain amount of snaps. He gets an incentive for a certain amount of receptions, a certain amount of yards, a certain amount of touchdowns. If you want to give him a contract that's not really guaranteed money, and you want to give him an incentive, incentivize the contract so that he makes more if he plays, I'm okay with that. I'm not giving Saquon Barkley $14, $15 million a year for 3-4 years. I'm not doing that. I can't trust him. Can't trust him. Just can't trust him. And you're right, Kenny. It is a shame. It definitely is a shame. Charles Way was awesome. Sank. He was a fullback, but he was like our best running back in the late 90s before Tiki really began to start. Charles Way was like our best offense. That's how bad our offense was with Dave Brown, Danny Cannell, and Kent Graham. That Charles Way was like our best offensive player, and he's a fullback. It was crazy. It was crazy. Why is everyone sleeping on Desmond Ridder? Because he plays in the Group of Five conference he plays in the Group of Five. So you're going to get, I'll tell you what, Stanley, if he has a really good game against Bama next week, nobody's going to sleep on him anymore. He can wake a lot of people up with a good performance against Bama, but Cincinnati doesn't play anybody. He did do pretty good against Notre Dame. They did beat Notre Dame. But if he has a good game, even if they lose and Ridder has a really good game against Alabama, he might, turn some heads. But I think it's a conference that he plays in. I think it's weak competition. And, but you're, saying that he's potentially the best quarterback in the draft, he could be. But this quarterback draft class is not good. There's really nobody in this class that really makes you go, oh, man, he's the guy. Like this year with Trevor Lawrence. People just raved about Trevor Lawrence. It was Kyler Murray. The people raved about Kyler Murray. They raved about Justin Herbert. Like, there was guys. There's really nobody in this draft class where you're like, oh, my God, he's the guy. This guy's the next superstar. There could be one in there, but nobody really jumps out at you off the page like, we got to get this guy. It's not Kenny Pickett. It's not Sam Howell. It's not Malik Willis. It's not Desmond Ridder. So I don't think he's really a guy that really jumps off the page. It is possible he's the best, but I think that's why nobody really pays attention to him, because he plays for Cincinnati. It's always a fun joke to tease the Ohio State fans and say you're not even the best college in your own state. You're not even the best team in Ohio. It's Cincinnati. Yes, Dan Campbell was a better tight end. Larry Donnell was a better tight end. Jake Ballard was a better tight end. Adrian Robinson. Remember Adrian Robinson, Jeffy? I remember him. Yeah, I definitely didn't see Jim Brown play. Definitely didn't see him play. But he was way ahead of his time. Way ahead of his time. A lot of people that did see Jim Brown will tell you that he was the best running back ever. Best running back I ever saw was Barry Sanders, without a doubt. That was the best I've ever seen. Adrian Peterson would probably be second. AP in his prime, stupid. Adrian Peterson was absolutely ungodly. Adrian Peterson's the whole reason I'm a Sooner fan. 2005, I mean, I never really had a college football team. I did watch college football. And I was watching a Sooner game, and I just saw Peterson run. I think it was against Texas. And he was amazing. And Oklahoma was always on television, even up here. And I just wanted to watch him run. And then I found myself rooting for him. When he scored, I got excited. I'm like, hell yeah. And then I was like, I might as well just be an Oklahoma fan. That's how I became an Oklahoma fan. Never really had I hate Syracuse. And I say that all the time. That goes back to my Big East basketball days when I was a Georgetown fan. I hated Jim Boeheim. I hated Syracuse. I still hate Syracuse. Donovan McNabb went there. Then he became an elite. Like, I hate Syracuse. Hated him. So that's why I didn't root for them. Rutgers isn't really anything. So I became a Sooner fan because of Adrian Peterson. Do I think that Mara ever gets tired of losing? I don't think Merrick cares as long as his pockets are lined. That's what I think. I don't think he cares. It's pretty obvious he doesn't care if he's giving a medium soda away. You know what I mean? Paul Matthews, Tomlinson was really good too. I'm not going to put him in the Barry Sanders or Adrian Peterson class. I think he's down next with like Eric Dickerson. I put him there. Curtis Martin. I think he's in that category. But Tomlinson was really good in his prime too. I think Marshall Faulk and Tomlinson were about the same. They're just beneath AP and Barry Sanders to me. I remember all these guys: Sonoris Moss, Jarrell Jernigan, Tim Carter. Tim Carter was really fast. You could put Ron Dixon in that class too. Ron Dixon, the world-class burner. Didn't do anything good. I remember buying a Jarrell Jernigan rookie card, an autograph patch for $4. And then he did pretty good in Super Bowl 46, and I sold it for $36 the day after the Super Bowl. What is my go-to meal for Christmas? I don't really have a go-to meal. I usually go to my mother-in-law. We go to my father-in-law's house in the morning, and his wife makes a ton of stuff. She makes like this French toast casserole. There's cookies. There's all kinds of stuff there. It's a big spread at his house. And then we go to my mother-in-law's house, and usually it's just kind of snacks, maybe pizza. Like, we don't really do anything. It's not like we make a ham or make a turkey. That's usually on Christmas Eve. My wife's aunt will make a ham, and we'll have ham over there. But it's we really don't have like a big Christmas dinner, you know. Where are we at? Yeah, I liked Dickerson. I liked Eric Dickerson. Steve Weatherford is way better than mine. Steve Weatherford was actually really cool down at training camp too. He was really cool. Really cool. Yeah, Dixon was fast. Kenny Dixon in Super Bowl 35 returned a kick, made 17-7, and then we gave up an 83-yard kickoff return to Jermaine Lewis. Not what the hell is our running back's name? Oh my God. Jamal Lewis. That was bad. I agree, Nicholas. I completely agree. 2015 offense, 2016 defense, yes. Maybe not a Super Bowl team, but damn good in a Super Bowl contender. I completely agree. Completely agree with you. Prince Castro, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Terrell Davis, Terrell Davis didn't play long enough. He was really, really good. I mean, Barry Sanders, he played about as long as Terrell Davis, too. I like Terrell Davis a lot. I wouldn't put Corey Dillon there, but I definitely, Terrell Davis obviously won a Super Bowl MVP in 1997, and he was really, really good. Got in the Hall of Fame, played like 7 full years. Honestly, I don't think Tiki Barber's that far removed from Terrell Davis. I think Tiki Barber had a very similar career. I think Tiki Barber belongs in the Hall of Fame. I don't care what he said about Eli after he retired. I don't care what Tiki Barber says. Tiki Barber should be in the Hall of Fame. Tiki Barber averaged 4.7 yards a carry. He had over 5,000 yards receiving. He ran for over 10,000 yards in his career, and he was a starter for 7 seasons. Tiki Barber, the last 2 years of his career, had 3,500 yards rushing over the last 2 years of his career. And the Giants, remember, they took him out at the goal line. So he didn't get the touch, kind of like they did with Barry Sanders in Detroit. He didn't get a chance to get the touchdowns. I'll always say, and people think I'm trolling when I say this, and I am not trolling. Tiki Barber was better than Emmitt Smith. Tiki Barber was a better running back than Emmitt Smith. I don't care what anybody says. Do not care. Tiki Barber averaged a half a yard more a carry than Emmitt Smith. And again, Tiki Barber was not a starter till his 7th year. Till his 4th year. So Tiki was damn good. Tiki belongs in the Hall of Fame. And Tiki was actually really cool at training camp. Tiki was not an ass. Tiki would sign anything you wanted. Tiki was very personable with the fans. He was good people. Amani Toomer was good people. Charles Way was good people. The Giants, like I said, when I talk about going to training camp, most of the Giants are really good people. You know, obviously they couldn't sign everything. They couldn't stand there and chat with everybody. They had things to do, but they were very good to the fans. Miss them. I miss them up here. It's been 10 years. It's hard to believe that, but I miss them up here. A lot of fun when the Giants are up here. You know. Benjamin, my man, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. He says the girls in Iowa don't necessarily have to be cute. Just show us proof that you ain't sus, Dom. And so far, he hasn't proven it to me. And happy holidays to you and your family. Like, hey, Benjamin, thank you, buddy. Happy holidays to you and your family as well, my friend. Maybe Dominic didn't see any girls in Iowa. I don't know where he went in Iowa. I've never been to Iowa, but Iowa's not like New York or California, where there's just people everywhere, you know. So I don't know if he's on a boat, probably hard to see girls in a boat, right? I don't know. How's Plaxico? Plaxico was decent. I would say Plaxico was the most personable guy, but he wasn't a total douche like Strahan. But he was okay. I mean, he wasn't great. I never got Plaxico's autograph, but he was okay. Not good or bad. Um, there was a lot of guys there's a lot of guys that were like even keel, you know. Um, Overrated quarter. Yeah, I would agree with you. Troy Aikman's most overrated quarterback. I agree. 165 touchdowns, 141 interceptions. Never threw more than he threw more than 20 touchdowns in a season one time in his career. Played with he played with one of the best running backs of all time. He played with a Hall of Fame receiver. He played with one of the greatest offensive lines of all time, and that's all he can muster. If Troy Aikman was on, look at what he was. Look how bad he was before that team got good. Nah, I agree. Here's a good one. Chuck Foreman. He was a little before my time, but I, being a historian, love Chuck Foreman. I've seen a lot of the Vikings 70s games. I am a big fan of the Purple People Eaters. I always felt bad that Minnesota was unable to win a Super Bowl in the 70s. They just ran into some great teams. The 69 Chiefs were a great team. They ran into the Miami Dolphins dynasty. They ran into the beginning of the Steelers dynasty, and then they lost to the 76 Raiders, which is one of the greatest teams of all time. They had bad timing. 75 was probably the best team the Vikings had, and of course, there was the pass interference that was not called on, I don't remember if it was, I think it wasn't Preston. It was Drew Pearson. Drew Pearson pushed Nate Wright in the back. It was offensive pass interference. That's where the term Hail Mary got started. But Chuck Foreman was fantastic. And again, his career was cut short by injuries, but he I think he had like 24 total touchdowns or something in 1975. He was very good. He was an all-purpose back. You didn't see a lot of backs that were able to rush for 1,000 yards and catch for another 500-600. He was the Vikings leading receiver one year. It might have been 1975. Very good was Chuck Foreman. I like Chuck Foreman a lot. Like I said, I love those Viking teams. Bud Grant was a class act. You had Jim Marsh, you had Carl Eller, Alan Page. They were so good. You had Paul Krause, the all-time NFL leading interceptor. He had 81 interceptions. You had guys like Wally Hilgenberg, Mick Tingelhoff, Ed White. They were really at Fran Tarkenton, of course. I really like the 70s Vikings. I'm always sad that they win. One thing I watch a lot is Missing Rings, the story of the 69 Vikings, because I just love Joe Cap. I love Joe Cap. Joe Cap takes no crap. Joe Cap is the man. Hell, Joe Cap knocked out some guy. I can't think of his name right now. He knocked out some dude. Some dude took a swing at him with a cane. They were like in their 70s. Joe Cap knocked him on his ass. It was great. Yeah, Ahmad Rashad was part of that as well. Yes, he was. As well as Sammy White. Yeah. And who was the other guy? John Gilliam. He was the other speedy receiver they had. Yes, he was. I completely agree. Kenny Anderson's a Hall of Famer. I completely agree. Kenny Anderson should be in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. 100%. Did Kenny Anderson win an MVP? Did Kenny Anderson win an MVP award? I can't remember if Kenny Anderson won an MVP. Why do I think he won the MVP in 1981? Yeah, they made the Super Bowl in 81. Did he win an MVP? He was really good. You're right. He is. Well, I don't think Jim Marshall's in the Hall of Fame either. Jim Marshall belongs in the Hall of Fame, but I completely agree. Kenny Anderson's a Hall of Famer. And I agree with this too. Kenny Tompkins is a Hall of Fame. I agree with you, Kenny. I agree. Bears or Giants? We're going to find out in 2 weeks. One delish. We're going to find out in 2 weeks. Can Mara fire himself? I wish we could fire him. We would fire him. Apparently, Mara threw a chair in the owner's booth. Well, I wish Mara would have hit himself in the head with the chair. Was that who it was? I thought the guy's last name was Moscata or something. I thought it was Moscata. It went back to the CFL days, I guess. I don't know. Ken Riley. I thought Ken Riley was in the Hall of Fame. Ken Riley, was he a safety or a corner? I don't remember, but he was really good too. He was really good. And he had Not Dan Ross wasn't a Hall of Famer, but Dan Ross was a really good tight end. Dan Ross was a great tight end in the late 70s, early 80s for the Bengals. Really good. Joe Cap is definitely better than Joe Judge. There's no Joe Cap would knock Joe Judge's ass. Still, Joe Cap's like 75 years old. Joe Cap way tougher than Joe Judge. Way tougher. Way tougher. Yes. Sammy White took the brutal hit by Jack Tatum, knocked his helmet clear off his face, concussed him, and he hung onto the ball. It was Super Bowl 11, but yes, he did. The Vikings were down 19-7. He made a big catch across midfield, and a couple plays later, the Vikings were driving. And I remember this because I have the game on DVD. So the Vikings had the ball 2nd down and 2 on like the Raiders 33, and they run Chuck Foreman, and they couldn't block. Foreman had a rough day because the Vikings could never run the ball in the Super Bowl. Vikings couldn't score in the Super Bowl. Vikings never scored in the first half in any of their Super Bowls, ever. They never scored in the first half of any of their Super Bowls. But Foreman lost 2 yards, made 3rd and 4, and then they were able to pass rush and Tarkin to do an interception. That was kind of the end of it. Not to mention, Brent McClanahan fumbled on the 1 yard line after the Vikings had blocked the punt at the beginning of the game. Vikings always got snake bit. Vikings, too many turnovers. They fumbled inside. I mean, it ended up being a block kick for a touchdown in Super Bowl 9, but Chuck Foreman also fumbled at the 2 yard line against the Steelers in 1974. So they always had bad breaks and inopportune, like turnovers at the worst time. I know my history about the NFL, man. I just love the history of the sports that I watch, you know. Yes, I agree. The NFL commissioner needs to step in and fire Mara. I wish he could. I don't know why he gets so much hate either. I think it's because he's never really won a big game. I think that's why. I think he's a serviceable like starter in the league. He's mid-pack. He does enough to get you to the playoffs or just miss them, but he's not like the next level. You know what I mean? He's just kind of that average guy that's never really had a big moment outside of, you like that? He's never done that in the playoffs. I think that's why. One of the list says 17-3 Bears. I know how you feel. We suck, man. Like I said, hold my medium soda. The Bears and Giants. In 2 weeks, we're going to have a 3-3 Bears-Giants tie. Let's do it. 3-3 tie game. Should be amazing. You know. I'd rather see out of all those, Kenny, the Knicks, I've never seen the Knicks win a title. Never. They got close to 94. 94 broke my heart. 94 broke my heart. 94 still hurts. 93 hurts too. 2-0 lead on the Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals. John Starks lights it up in game 1. He has like 4 threes. He outplays Jordan in both the games at the Garden. He has the unbelievable dunk, which is one of the greatest moments in New York sports. Knicks go up 2-0. Looks like it's their year. They won 60 games in 93. They end up blowing it. They go to Chicago game 3. They get blown out. They never recover. Then, of course, Jordan drops 54 in game 4. We don't win. Then the Charles Smith in game 5. Freaking Charles Smith, man. You know, and then, of course, 94, they play a tough 7-game series against the Bulls. We win. Play a tough 7-game series against the Pacers. We win. Then we have a 7 games against the Rockets. And I will go to my grave with this, Kenny. In game 6, if stupid Olajuwon goes with Ewing like he should have and doesn't get his fingertips on Starks' 3, that's going in, and the Knicks win the championship. Starks was on fire in that fourth quarter. And if you look at Starks, he comes off the curl, he squares his shoulder, and you could just tell it was going in. And then, of course, in game 7, Starks pressed way too much, went 2 for 18, over 10 from downtown. We lose a heartbreaker to Houston. That one killed me. 95, we have the missed Ewing layup in game 7. 97, We're beating the hell out of Miami. They have the fight in game 5. David Stern ejects all of our guys. He suspends them. Ewing, Larry Johnson, John Starks, Charles Oakley, all of them. Everybody got suspended. We had nobody. We had them beat. We were really good in 97. That was probably the most talent Ewing had around him while Ewing could still play before he started having the foot and knee injuries all the time. We got burned there. 99 was just a miracle run. 99, I feel like we overachieved. I was very happy that they even made the finals. Obviously, we lost Ewing. There was no way we were beating that Spurs team with Duncan and Robinson. We definitely needed Ewing in that. Camby was great, but Camby couldn't guard them both. We were undersized against the Spurs. But I was happy with 99. Felt like we did good. And then 2000, we beat the Heat again. Ewing always owned Alonzo Mourning in the playoffs. He beat Alonzo's Heat 3 times. He beat him in 98, 99, 2000, and he beat him in 93 when he was in Charlotte. Ewing owned Alonzo Mourning's ass. So, did I say Charles Oakley? I meant Charles Smith. I don't know. If I said Charles Oakley, I definitely didn't mean to say that. I meant to say Charles Smith. Charles Smith, I hated Charles Smith. Hated him. Should have never let Xavier McDaniel walk. Should have never let McDaniels walk. Never. Yeah, Zoe got the chip. Yeah, Zoe held on to be 48 years old and go to Miami and sit on the bench and win a ring. Good for him. Alonzo Mourning is one of the most overrated basketball players in the history of the league. Not even close. Ewing owned him. Ewing was way older than him, and Ewing dominated his ass every series. Ewing couldn't even walk, and he was able to beat Alonzo Mourning. Ewing did deserve a ring. Absolutely. Absolutely. The two first rounders, Michael, offensive line. I want O-line both. I want offensive line on both of them. O-line on both. Oh, you were saying Charles Smith. Yeah, no, Oakley was the man. I loved Oak. Yeah, and also, Kenny, like I said, Starks having the bad game broke my heart because Starks is my all-time favorite player. I loved John Starks. Loved him. When I saw Knicks fan TV, my man CP over there, when I saw him interviewing John Starks, I got a little jealous. I'm not jealous, but I'm like, that is awesome. I'm like, this guy's interviewing my favorite player of all time. How cool is that? He's sitting next to John Starks. That's why Knicks fan TV is the man. That guy's the real deal. You want to talk about a professional and the production value just being unbelievable? He was on WFAN. I don't know if he's going to have his own spot on WFAN. He should. CP of Knicks fan TV is amazing. That guy is really good. That guy is better than anybody on the radio, anybody on TV when it comes to the NBA. Not even close. That guy is really, really good. If you're a Knicks fan or just a basketball fan and you are not subscribed to Knicks fan TV, you need to subscribe. You'll thank me. Trust me, man. That guy knows this. That guy's really good. So I had the Giants at 10 wins. So what? Big deal. Do I blame Starks for 94? No, he had a bad game. Like I said, game 6, John Starks carried the Knicks. John Starks is the only reason the Knicks were even in game 6. John Starks scored 16 points in the fourth quarter of that game. He kept the Knicks there. He gave the Knicks a chance to win. So I definitely don't blame him. John Starks was amazing. He didn't have a good game 1. He didn't have a good game 7. He was amazing the rest of the series. The Knicks backcourt completely outplayed the Rockets backcourt. The problem in 94 was our best player was Patrick Ewing. And I love Patrick. Patrick was a warrior, tough as nails, 100% every night. Even when his body failed him, he gave 100%. He was so unappreciated by the fans. I love Patrick Ewing. He was no match for Hakeem Olajuwon. None. Hakeem was better than Ewing by a lot. But Hakeem was the best center I ever saw. He could do everything. one of the best in the low post, shot blocker, had a good mid-range jump shot, good free throw shooter, great defender. Great defender. So the fact that their best player nullified our best player, that hurt us. That's why 93 hurts me more than anything, because even though Phoenix did beat us in 93, I felt like if we played Phoenix in the finals in 93, we could have beat Phoenix. I felt like we matched up better. Of course, there was a big brawl in 93 against Phoenix. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. Kevin Johnson and Derek Harper going at it. Greg Anthony coming off the bench in his street clothes, throwing a punch. Those are my Knicks, man. The Knicks that had them fights all the time. The Knicks Bulls rivalry, the Knicks Heat, the Knicks Pacers in the 90s, the Knicks Bulls in the early 90s, the Knicks Pacers in the middle 90s, the Knicks Heat in the late 90s. We had some good fights back in the day. That was good stuff. That was good stuff. I miss those Knicks, man. I miss those Knicks. They were tougher than anybody. They didn't have a lot of talent, but they were tougher than anybody. They outworked everybody. That's why, even though they never won a title, people love Oakley. They loved Anthony Mason, God rest his soul. They love Starks. They love Ewing. They love those Knicks because they spit blood. They dove into the crowd. They dove on the floor. They threw punches. They never quit. You know? That wasn't basketball was a man's game, Kenny. This is a great question. I have to go with Mara, though. I think Mara is terrible. Yes, Duncan was great. Duncan's one of the best players ever. Mutombo was a good shot blocker. Mutombo wasn't really a great offensive guy. He was a really good rebounder and a really good shot blocker, but Mutombo was not going to beat you offensively. He wasn't going to beat you offensively. Ewing could score. Ewing was a scorer. Olajuwon was a scorer. Shaq obviously changed the game. Shaq was just bigger than everybody, bulldozed everybody, too strong down in the paint. But Shaq wasn't going to shoot on you. You know. I'm going to be, yes, I'd be thrilled. If we could get Thibodeau and Linderbaum, either order, I'd be thrilled. I would be in my glory, Stanley, if we could get Thibodeau out of Oregon and Linderbaum from Iowa. I'd be in my glory if we could do that. Yeah, I don't know, Rich. It's a good question. I don't know what the deal is with Kadarius Toney. What's going on, I Green Dawes? I didn't know Larry Johnson passed away. Larry Johnson passed away? When the hell did that happen? He's still alive. What are you talking about? Larry Johnson's still alive. He's still alive. Yes, Bears lost 17-3. I had it on TV up there. Yes, the Bears do lose. I don't care what Albert Breer says. I do not want Russell Wilson. I'll be freaking pissed off. I'll be pissed if the Giants give 2 top 10 picks for Russell Wilson. I'll be mad. I'll not be happy. Russell Wilson's one of my favorite players in the NFL. Russell Wilson's going to be 34 years old. Russell Wilson alone ain't making this team any better. We'll be better. We're not going to be a Super Bowl team. If you can give up 1 first-round pick for him and some players, okay. I'm not giving up 2 top 10 picks. And I don't trust that anybody says. The season's not even over. It's been over for us for a while, but officially it's not over. We're in December. I'm not going to worry about rumors on Twitter. We'll see what happens. It's just always these rumors. There was rumors that Russell Wilson was going to be a Giant the year we drafted Daniel Jones. I remember that. I wish that happened then. Plus, Russell Wilson makes, $35 million a year? How the hell can we afford Russell Wilson? We got no cap space. What's going on, Roldy? Yeah, I'm not giving up 2 tops for him. One, yes. 2, no. If we could give up 1, like a first, a third, we have 2 thirds. If we could give say we could give up a first, a third, Saquon, and like next year's third, and get Russell Wilson over here, I'm all for that. Draft a lineman with what your other top 10 pick. I'd be fine with that. I don't know enough. Whoops, there they go. I don't know enough about Carson Strong. I haven't watched Nevada football since Kaepernick was there, so I don't know. I do not know enough about Carson Strong. I can't speak to him. I don't watch Nevada football anymore. Nevada, however the hell you say that. Yeah, I wouldn't want Russell Wilson. 3 years ago, yeah. Like I said, I'd rather have, if the Giants were going to make a move at a quarterback, I'd much rather get Deshaun Watson. He's 26? I'd much rather go that route. If everything cleared up and he was okay and absolved of everything, that all these charges or whatever, I'm fine with that. Punkum, what's up, buddy? Giants have the second most draft capital after the Jets. We might end up with the most, depending on what Seattle does. Might end up with the most, unless you're talking about like for the total draft. Because the Bears lost, so that helps. We're both 4-10. I knew the Bears were going to be terrible. I didn't think we would be terrible. I knew they were going to be terrible. I didn't expect us to be 4-10 this year. A major disappointment. Major disappointment this year. Really bad. Really bad year for the New York Giants, man. Really bad. Hit that like, hit the subscribe if you're new. Let's go. Let's get some likes up in here, man. I don't know how many likes we got, but go ahead. Keebler, Trish Stratus. Yeah, I don't even need to think about that. It's Trish Stratus. I love Trish Stratus. I always loved the Trish Stratus. Stratus faction. Trish Stratus was super hot. I loved her. Even when I met my wife would always be like, oh, there's your woman. She knew. I loved Trish Stratus. Loved her. Do I think Jones will be forced into retirement? No, definitely not. They said that's not career altering. They said his neck injury is not career. He'll be shut down for the year, but they said it's not career altering. So no, I don't think they're going to force him to retire. No. Yes, Charles, like this for the bad diggy dizzle. How do we get worse? I wish I could tell you, Easy Lopez. I wish I could tell you, buddy. I don't know. What's a Giant ceiling next year? Tough to tell. We have to see what we do in free agency, who we release, who we draft, what we have for a GM, what we have for a head coach, what we have for coordinators. It's impossible to know their ceiling next year. But if the Giants do what they're talking about doing, where you're probably going to hire an in-house GM and stick with Joe Judge, I think 5-6 wins is our ceiling. I don't think you're going to see any changes next year. I think you'll pretty much have the same results. I don't think you'll see a good Giants team next year. I just don't. I do not. Mike Glennon should be pumping gas in Jersey with Andrew Heaney and everything. That's right. He should be. Well, actually, I didn't give Glennon the pumping gas. In my postgame, I said he should be flipping burgers at McDonald's. I did give him a burger flipper job at McDonald's in my postgame. New York Giants 26. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. He says, Judge is crap. Explains the stains in my undies. Listen, if you were here earlier, I said Judge is built like a pear. So he's built like a fruit. He's Fruit of the Loom underwear. Joe Judge is a big skid mark stained underwear over on the sideline. That's what he is for the Giants. I can't stand Joe Judge. I've never hated a coach more than Joe Judge. Aaron Boone's up there. Don't get me wrong. Aaron Boone is right there with Joe Judge. But at least Aaron Boone wins. We don't win at all. And there's huge expectations for the Yankees, okay? But at least the Yankees win 92 games, win 100 games. The Yankees win a lot more than they lose, even with Aaron Boone there. So I can't hate Boone as much as I hate Judge. But I don't like Aaron Boone. Yankee fans, you know that. I hate Gary Sanchez, too. I can't stand Gary Sanchez. I don't hate any player more than I hate Gary Sanchez. Nobody. I can't stand him. I hate him. I don't even want to look at his face. I can't stand Gary. That's why I like talking to my guy, Pete Simonetti from NYY News because he feels the same way I do about this stuff. Which, by the way, big shout out to him. I know a lot of people are saying they love the new intro. My guy Pete Simonetti made that for me. So big shout out to him for that. And I look forward to doing some Yankee talk with him this year. He's really good. He's got a great channel too. Pete Simonetti, high production value over there. Really good channel. William Keller, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Isaiah Wilson's not in the plans this year. Joe Judge says that's one of the building blocks. He's future. He's down the road. He's part of the future. He might be there in a year. Next year might be the year for Isaiah. Well, that's what's going on. He's still with the team. He's just not going to play this year. You know, Zachary, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Who's worse, Matt Nagy or Coach O? At least Matt Nagy made the playoffs. Matt Nagy made the playoffs. Joe Judge never had a 500 record at any point in his career. Never even a 500 record. Joe Judge started out 1-7 last year. Joe Judge started out 1-5 this year. Nagy is better than track coach Joe. No doubt. Anyway, Giants, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. They hired Joe right from Gettleman's. Yes. Good call. They did. They pulled out a skid mark stained pair of underwear from Gettleman's drawer, and that was Joe Judge. That is Joe Judge. Getting Huntley from the Ravens, I mean, as a stopgap, sure. He's not going to cost anything. Or as a backup, you mean, like to challenge Daniel Jones? I'm fine with that. What am I sipping on? Oh, let's go on now, Skeptic. It was this. It'll be Diet Coke now. I have Diet Coke here. But it was Allagash White. I freaking love the Allagash White. Benny, thank you for the super chat, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you, my man. He says, huge fan of the Super Friends. That is so much fun, man. I love, like I said, man, people said to me, Benny, they said last time, like, oh, man, they're like, I feel bad for Bad Dog. Bad Dog ain't saying anything. Bad Dog's just sitting there. I'm like, I had my moments. I still talk that trash. I still told my boy LB that Jalen Hurts is trash. He is, but that is a lot of fun. I love working with those guys, Benny. I love that round table. When I put that together, I did a few round tables with NFC East content creators. Like I had Ed Oliver, Philly 500, and Mark Holmes on one, and I had Voch Lombardi, Street Scores, and I had Philly 500 on for another one. And those were good. But when I worked with Law Nation LB and Louis T, there was a special chemistry between the four of us. And I love that. Those guys, all three of those guys are good people. They're great content creators. They're great fans. I have the utmost respect for all three of those guys, and I look forward to doing it again. He says, as a Cowboys fan, I really appreciate your work, even though you guys are booty, and that's being kind. Calling us booty is being kind. We are booty. We are buns. We are cheeks. We are what comes out of your booty. That is what the New York Giants are. What's my take on Saquon long-term, Benny? I don't think he's going to be here long-term. I think maybe he'll be here. He'll be here next year to start. He might even be traded in the offseason. I don't know what they could get for him. They're going to have to get at least what they would get from a compensatory pick, maybe a fourth rounder or better. If they could get a second rounder for him, I'm in. But I don't see the Giants giving him a long-term contract. I mentioned it earlier in the stream. If Saquon Barkley agreed to like a 2-year, $20 million deal laden with incentives where it could get up to like maybe $28 million for 2 years, where depending on the amount of snaps he plays, the yards that he gets, the touchdowns, receptions, and so on and so forth, games played because he's always hurt. If they did something like that and didn't give him a bunch of guaranteed money up front, I could deal with it. I'm not giving him market value. I don't want to see Saquon get 4 years, $60 million or like $32 million guaranteed. I do not want to chance that. The Giants can't afford to do that with Barkley. So I think his long-term, honestly, is I think he's going to end up somewhere else in 2023. That's my honest opinion. Kobe, my man. Kobe Dub, thank you for becoming a member of the channel. I really appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much. Cody Dubbed, welcome to the Dog Pound, sir. Where my Dog Pound members at? Welcome, Cody Dubbed, or Kobe Dubbed, into the Dog Pound. Let's go. Thank you so much for becoming a member, my man. I appreciate that. Thank you. And Dominic, my man, thank you for upgrading to the next tier of the Dog Pound, my man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Dominic upgraded. So thank you for being here, man. Appreciate it. Dominic, thank you for being here for 5 months, my man. Thank you for upgrading. I really appreciate it. It says, want the New York Giants to draft O-line and defensive end with those picks in 2023. Do whatever you got to do to get Bryce Young. Goodbye, gentlemen. Yeah, I would love Bryce Young. And I agree. I would take O-line with the first 2 picks, but either way, I want them to address, if they went O-line and defensive end, I'm fine with that. Dominic, I feel like the Giants have to address both sides in the trenches. But I really want to focus on the offensive line. But if they went, say somebody mentioned Thibodeau early, if Thibodeau from Oregon fell down to number 4, number 5, if he fell to us, I would take Linderbaum and Thibodeau, and I'd be so happy if we did that. If they went Evan Neal and Thibodeau, although I think Evan Neal is going to go to Jacksonville, but if they were able to get those guys, I'd be thrilled. But we have to go in the trenches in this draft. No safety. Don't want that Hamilton kid out of Notre Dame. I don't want him. If they went Stingley, if they dump Bradbury to save cap space and they go Derek Stingley, I'm not going to be upset with that either. But because lockdown corners are extremely valuable in today's football. But I'd really like to see the Giants concentrate on the line, on either side of it. We need to get better there. We need to get better on the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball, because that is still where the game is won and lost. And as you see, we lose every week because we have no pass rush and we can't run block to save our life. So I would like to see it get better. Kobe, thank you, brother. Really appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Mara is the loser. The Giants, well, Mara's losing the Giants' way. It's the losing way. Yes, you're right. Mara's the biggest problem with this team. Like I said, Mara is so out of touch. He's giving medium sodas, not even a large. Couldn't even splurge. Think about that. Think of anybody that's a season ticket holder for any team. Think about how much money that is. And your reward for spending thousands of dollars every year or for the year is a medium soda. What a disgrace. What an insult. You know, the next home game, and I don't know where that is. I think it's against Washington, right? It's the last game of the season. I'm pretty sure we play in Chicago. I know we play in Philadelphia on Sunday. The fans ought to start a Mara sucks chant that last game of the season. I'm serious. Giant, I think we need to put that. All over social media. That last game of the season. We really need to get it out there to all the fans that go to that game to start chanting Mara sucks. And maybe he'll hear that. I think that's what we need to do. Somehow, some way, put it on Twitter, Instagram, whatever the hell social media you have. And get all the fans to chant Mara sucks. Maybe he'll hear that. Maybe the booing ain't getting through. Maybe if he hears 40,000, and I'm not going to say 70,000 because there ain't going to be 70,000 Giants fans there. Maybe 30,000 if he's lucky. But if you get 30,000 people in there chanting, Mara sucks, Mara sucks, maybe he'll hear that. I can do everything I can that last week. We'll put that everywhere. We'll put that every day on Twitter, every day on Instagram. If you're going to the game, chant Mara sucks. At some point, get that thing going. Mara sucks. Maybe he'll hear that. Maybe that'll get through his damn old-ass brain. If he's got all them Giants fans saying he sucks instead of booing. Just chant Mara sucks. He'll hear that. He's at the games because he does. I can't stand what the Giants have become. He's the reason. He's the main culprit. It's his team. And the dude is going to freaking give you a medium soda. It's an absolute insult. He deserves that Mara sucks chant. Garbage. The Depressed Giants fan, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. He says, if there was a pool of points, the Giants would jump off the board and hit the concrete. But yet, I'm depressed in December. Yeah, we're all pretty down about the Giants, buddy. It sucks. It sucks. But you know what? You're right about that. We would hit the concrete. We would. We can't score to save our life. We can't score to save our life. Yeah. It's like that weird kid in high school that used to eat his boogers. He ain't scoring. That's the Giants. That's Joe Judge. Joe Judge ain't scoring. We all know that. He is. He's like that weird kid that dressed funny, smelled bad, and ate his own boogers. You think that kid's going to score? Nah. It's Joe Judge. That's Joe Judge. Joe Judge is that loser in high school, can't get a girl. That's Joe. That's what he is. He can't score. One touchdown in 3 weeks. You would think at some point we'd have to fall into a touchdown. One touchdown in 3 weeks. One. We've scored, 28 points in the last 3 weeks? 26. No. Yeah, 20. That's right. 28 points in 3 weeks. 28 points in 3 weeks. What a joke. We have never scored 30 points offensively with Joe Judge. Joke. Christopher, thank you for the super chat, brother. I really appreciate that, my good man. Thank you for the $5. Boom! I appreciate it. Merry early Christmas. Merry early Christmas to you, Landon. Joe used to get bullied. I agree. Garbage pail kids, you mean? They were Cabbage Patch dolls in the early 80s. My sister had one. They're a big item. Cabbage Patch dolls, which turned into Garbage Pail Kids. I used to collect those when I was a kid before I got into sports cards. Middle 80s, 84, 85, 86. Garbage Pail Kids. 1988, I started collecting sports cards. I haven't stopped since. Oh, there you go. Garbage Pail Kids. There you go. He's just crazy. Who do I want to draft? I don't want a quarterback this year. I don't want a quarterback. Don't like him. Don't like him. And I don't want to take one in the second or third. I really don't. Unless one guy falls out there. I mean, again, Chris and I talked about it Saturday. If you get a quarterback in the second or third round, you're really not devoted to him. So if the Giants are going to take a quarterback, if they want to take it in the second or third round, I'm okay with that. But definitely not with a top 10 pick. No, I don't want anybody in the top 10. CJ Stroud, I don't like Ohio State quarterbacks. I just don't. That's just my opinion. Why? I talk about it all the time. There's 3 schools I don't want quarterbacks from. Ohio State, no thank you. Florida, no thank you. USC, no thank you. They all stink. They win Heisman trophies. They play in spread offenses. They're completely dominant to every team that they play. And then they get to the NFL and they're complete trash. See Matt Leinart. See Sam Darnold. Who the hell is the other guy at USC that I could say? Carson Palmer was decent. There's another USC quarterback that I didn't like that was no good. See Tim Tebow out of Florida. See Danny Werfel out of Florida. Name your Ohio State quarterback. Cardale Jones, Terrell Pryor, Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields. I don't think Justin Fields is any good. But how do I feel about Spencer Rattler going to South Carolina? That was actually surprising to me that he went to. I thought for sure he was going to go to a better school. Spencer Rattler's not good. Spencer Rattler was the biggest disappointment for me this entire season. Sanchez, thank you, Duran. Sanchez, Mark Sanchez, thank you. That's the other guy. Yeah, he sucked. He was terrible. That's the other guy. He's so bad I forgot about him. The butt fumble man. But yeah, I don't like Ohio State quarterbacks. I don't like Florida. I don't like USC. It's just me. So I don't like to mess with those guys. I just don't. I have no confidence in those guys. Bobby, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. You're the man. Thank you, brother. He says the Giants are the guy in the nursing home that gets a gold sticker for not pooping his pants and drooling on himself. But that's just the thing, Bobby. They do poop their pants and drool on themselves. I guarantee you John Mara drools all over himself. I guarantee it. I guarantee he drools. I don't know if he's pooping his pants yet, Bobby, but he is definitely drooling on himself. If he does poop his pants, maybe he's keeping Joe Judge around because Joe Judge changes his bedpan. I don't know. There's something weird there. Joe Judge don't deserve a third year. How are you going to fire? How the hell are you? See, I don't understand this. People are like, oh, Joe Judge deserves another year. Joe Judge. How? How does Joe Judge deserve another year? They freaking drafted Daniel Jones 6th overall for Pat Shurmur, and they fired Shurmur the year after they drafted Jones. So why the hell? What the hell does Joe Judge deserve another year for? I don't understand. I don't understand the love for Joe Judge for some people. I loved him last year. He fooled me. He fooled me. Joe Judge fooled me good. He got me good. He got me good. I listened to the rhetoric. I bought it. I bought into 60 minutes punch in the nose. Don't tell me what they can do. Tell me what they can do. We're going to teach. We're going to teach these guys. We're going to execute. We're going to have all these fundamentals. We're going to give you a team that we can be proud of. I bought all that crap, hook, line, and sinker. I saw the team start off 1-7 after they were 1-7, maybe when they were 1-6. I made a video that said the Giants are the best team in the NFC East. People thought I was insane. They went 5-3 in their last 8 games with nothing, with no talent there. Barkley was hurt. No number one wide receiver. Terrible offensive line. Shepard hurt. Ingram hurt. We're throwing to Austin Mack for Christ's sakes. 5-3 down a stretch. Win in Seattle. I said the Giants going into this year, Dory Jackson, better than Isaac Yiadom. That helps. Huge. Kyle Rudolph, that'll help. Not what he used to be, but a good red zone target. What does David Times go? Somebody calls him Rudolph the Red Zone strange here? Because he's a stranger to the red zone. Number one receiver in Kenny Galladay, $72 million. Didn't even look his way. Offensive line regresses. Quarterback regresses. Saquon Barkley, not what he used to be. Galladay, no factor. Draft Kadarius Toney. Dude's out with COVID. Dude has a bad ankle. Dude's whatever. I don't even know what the deal with Kadarius Toney is. Sterling Shepard, hurt, concussion, this, that. Daniel Jones, concussion. It just never fails. The team's bad, and they get no breaks. But he freaking fooled me because at the beginning of the year, we were healthy. We were 0-3. Scored 13 points against Denver, 14, whatever it was. Got a cheap touchdown at the end of the game. Put up 14 points against Atlanta. Come on. Atlanta had given up 80 points in the first 2 games. We scored 14 with everybody healthy. Christopher, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. He says, am I finally on this sumbitch? Listen, I have the Seahorn jersey. I wouldn't mind all our picks being on the line. I also can't stop thinking of Trish. I don't blame her. Trish Stratus, hottie. She's hot. Trish Stratus is a smoke show. And the Seahorn jersey is awesome. I think he meant to say I love it. I think he meant to say I love the Seahorn jersey. I love that Seahorn jersey too. I make the joke all the time, Christopher. My Jason Seahorn jersey is older than a lot of the people in my chat. That Jason Seahorn jersey is going to be 25 years old next year. I bought that thing in 1997. That's why there's no stitching on it. That's why those letters, there was no screen printed letters back in the 90s. I'm surprised that jersey's held up the way it has. When I went to the Giants game last year, in 2019, I wore that. I wore that jersey down there. Seahorn was one of my favorite players. I loved the Jason Seahorn back in the day. Kobe, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Super Chat says Steve Tisch needs to pay attention to his team and stop Luzamera on letting him running them into the ground for the new Lions of the NFL. Just think about it. The Lions are better than us. The Lions have won more games in the last 5 years than we have. Lions actually have some semblance of an offense. The Lions just put up 30 points against the best team in the NFC. Won the game 30-12. The Lions did that. When's the last time we blew anybody the hell out? The Panthers? The 25-3 game against the Panthers? Panthers are nothing. Lions are better than if we played the Lions Sunday, the Lions would whoop our ass. But the thing is, Mara's the majority owner, so I don't know what Steve Tisch can do. I don't think it's a 50-50 thing. I think Mara owns like 51% of the team or something. So I don't know how much pull Steve Tisch actually has. But I think that Steve Tisch actually cares more about the damn team than Mara does. William, thank you for the super chat, brother. Appreciate you. He says, as a Buckeyes fan, you're absolutely right about the quarterbacks, but I have faith that Justin Fields will break the streak. Maybe he will. I said at the draft, I said that if I don't trust Ohio State quarterbacks, but if I was going to take one, I think Fields has the best opportunity to succeed, but he has been awful. Now, part of that's being on a really bad Chicago team. Maybe he'll get better, but he has been really bad this year. Really bad. And I feel like Fields is going to get hurt because he runs too much. But we'll see. But there you go. Even as a Buckeye fan, even William is saying, and he watches the Buckeyes, even he's saying that he agrees that a lot of their quarterbacks do not end up being good in the NFL. They don't for whatever reason. Christopher Munoz, thank you for becoming a member, brother. I really appreciate that. Christopher Munoz, welcome to the Dog Pound, sir. Where are my Dog Pound members at? Welcome, Christopher Munoz, into the kennel, baby. Hoo, hoo. Let's go. Thank you, Christopher. I appreciate that. The New York Giants organization, I agree. They should fire Joe Judge. Joe Judge is trash. Joe Judge stinks. He stinks. He stinks. 202 likes. Thank you, guys. Hit that like. Keep hitting that like. Hit that subscribe button. We are going to organize that. We are going to organize the Mara Sucks chant that last game. We're going to put that all over social media. Because I don't think the Giants play the Bears at home. I'm pretty sure they're in. I'm going to check. But I'm pretty sure that the Giants... I'm pretty sure the Giants. What's going on here? Oh, I don't want Twitter. Get off of there. I don't want Twitter. I want this. I'm almost positive the Giants are in Chicago. Yep. So they don't go home until January 9th. We're gonna try to organize that. Put that all over social media. Mara sucks. Chant Mara sucks. Let him hear that. Let him hear that chant. Him getting booed. Remember John Mara got booed week 3 when they were retiring Eli Manning's number, and Eli had to kind of calm the crowd down. He can't hide. He can't hide from Mara sucks. The fans can be booing him. He wouldn't know they were booing him. But if he hears Mara sucks from, like I said, 35,000 Giants fans, maybe he'll get the damn hint. And maybe then they ought to start the fire Joe Judge chant too. Seriously. Giants were ruined before Gettleman got here. Gettleman didn't make it any better. Gettleman might have actually made it worse. Reese ruined the Giants. Gettleman just dumped gasoline on the fire. Jerry Reese's draft picks from 2011 through 2017 were terrible. God awful. That's how you're a bad organization for 10 years. Gettleman came here and somehow made it worse. Didn't think that was possible. But Gettleman didn't ruin the Giants. Gettleman just maybe set the Giants back or kept them in squalor. Didn't ruin them, though. It all started by not drafting Mark Ingram in 2011 and drafting Prince Amukamara. That's where that started. Then David Wilson. Then Justin Pugh. Justin Pugh, Beckham was really good. All of his other draft picks that year sucked. Eric Flowers, garbage. Eli Apple, garbage. Evan Ingham, garbage. His second, third, and fourth round picks were freaking terrible. Jerry Reese ruined the Giants. And John Mara held on to him way too damn long. Reese should have been fired in 2015 when they got rid of Tom Coughlin. They should have never allowed him to be there. TJ Watt could have been a Giant. Aaron Donald could have been a Giant. Todd Gurley could have been a Giant. Nope. Let's not do that. Jack Conklin, Reese got outworked. Leonard Floyd, Reese got outworked. Ben McAdoo, 2017, let's trade up and get Pat Mahomes or Deshaun Watson. Nope, we're not doing that. Nope, we're not trading up. Nope, you're stuck with Eli. We're keeping Eli. Evan Ingram's your pick. That's a problem. Gettleman didn't make it any better. Gettleman, I don't know how the hell he managed to make it worse, but he did. But Reese screwed the Giants. And Gettleman never got us out of it. So Gettleman didn't help matters, but he didn't ruin them. He kept them ruined. They were ruined when he got here. He kept them ruined. He kept them down. But Reese is the one that started this crap with the horrible draft picks. And I'm not just talking about the first round draft. He missed on so many first round draft picks. But look at the other draft picks that never did anything for this team. Ever. It was terrible. Wayne Gallman was decent. That was a Reese pick. Who's the quarterback? Was it Davis Webb? Did he draft Davis Webb? What the hell ever became of that? He didn't know what the hell he was doing. It's terrible. You know, this could be it. I don't even think Reese definitely hurt us. Reese destroyed. Remember where we were in 2017, 3-13. The only time in the history of the New York Giants that they lost 13 games in a season. Horrible, horrible cap situation. 37-year-old quarterback. No offensive line because Reese neglected it, and every time he tried to get an offensive lineman, it was terrible. Reese put us in that situation. Gettleman in 2018 tried to get us out of it. He did. He failed. Everything Gettleman did was wrong. Barkley, not the right pick. I loved it when it happened. Obviously, hindsight being 2020, incorrect. You all know how I felt about Daniel Jones. Half the world knows how I felt about Daniel Jones. The video went viral. Didn't like Daniel Jones one bit. I was happy with Andrew Thomas. I scratched my head with Kadarius Toney. Thought they reached on Dexter Lawrence. I'm not going to lie. I actually like the DeAndre Baker pick. Thought DeAndre Baker might be a decent cornerback. Didn't expect him to get arrested. But Reese said he'd fix the offensive line. He had 6 first-round draft picks. He took one lineman with his 6 first-round picks in his 4 years here. So he lied. Joe Judge lied too. No, Cruz wasn't drafted. Cruz was an undrafted free agent. But Reese, at the beginning of his tenure, Reese wasn't bad. Like I said, it started in 2011. Reese had good picks. He got Ahmad Bradshaw in the 7th round. Steve Smith was a good pick. JPP was a good pick. Hakeem Nicks was a good pick. Kenny Phillips was a really good safety. Kenny Phillips just had knee issues. But Mario Manningham was an effective pick. He did a good job. The saying used to be in Reese we trust. Reese did a really good job. He got Victor Cruz as an undrafted free agent. He did good things at the beginning of his tenure. It started to fall off in 2011. Jacobs was at the end of his career. Bradshaw was still okay, but they should have went Mark Ingram. That was the damn guy. Instead, if they would have drafted Mark Ingram in 2011, it avoids the mistake of drafting David Wilson in 2012. And who knows where they go from there. But it was wrong. That's when it fell off. And I'll disagree with this. Reese has 1 ring. 1. Yeah, he took over in 2007. Anybody that knows Giants football knows that was Ernie Accorsi's team. 2007, Ernie Accorsi built that Giants team. Ernie Accorsi is the one that got Plexico Burress. Ernie Accorsi is the one that got Eli Manning. Ernie Accorsi is the one that got Brandon Jacobs. That was Ernie Accorsi's team. Reese had a couple of good draft picks in 2007, but the foundation of that team was Ernie Accorsi. I'll give Reese credit for 2011. I don't know who the two top 10 guards you are. Who is the two top 10 guards you're talking about? Pugh was not a top 10 guard. Pugh was a good guard. Pugh was not a top 10 guard by any stretch of the imagination. I'm trying to think who the other guard you have. Richburg was a center. He was decent. Oh, he was great, but he was decent. I don't know who the other guard you're talking about. What other guard did Reese draft? And Pugh wasn't even a guard. Pugh was a tackle. They drafted him as a tackle, 13th overall, or 12th, whatever the hell it was, from Syracuse. And he was a failure at tackle. He moved him to guard, which is why I kept screaming, move Eric Flowers to guard. It worked for Pugh. Flowers is actually a decent guard now, but he wasn't drafted as a guard. And the Giants were the only one that projected him as a left tackle. He played right tackle his entire college career in Miami. We moved him to left tackle. He played out of position his whole career here. Bad. Did a bad job. Reese did a bad job at the end of his tenure here. Last 7 years were bad. Flowers is not a guard. Flowers was drafted as a tackle. Flowers never played guard for the New York Giants. Never. They moved him to guard. He was a tackle. He was a tackle at Miami. He played right tackle at Miami. The Giants were the only team in the draft that projected him a left tackle. And the only reason that they drafted him is because they wanted Brandon Sheriff. And instead of him falling to the Giants at 9, the Redskins at the time took him at 5. Flowers was not a guard here. Never played guard. Played left tackle, then they moved him to right tackle. He failed at both. Then they got rid of him. He wasn't a guard. He's not a guard. Doesn't matter. I don't know what you're saying here. You lost the argument. Stop. Whose fault is it that he was not moved? He wasn't drafted as a guard. It doesn't matter if he was moved or not. He was a tackle in college. He was not a guard. He was not drafted as a guard. Neither was Pugh. Pugh was drafted as a tackle. They moved him to guard. Not a guard. And definitely not a top 10 guard, regardless. He's serviceable. He's not a top 10 guard in the NFL. He's not. It's not. Reese did make panic picks. You know who else makes panic picks? Not panic picks, but get him and reached for everybody. Get him and reached for almost every pick he took. He didn't. I don't think he reached for Andrew Thomas. I mean, we had to do that. I don't think Andrew Thomas was a terrible pick at number 4, but he definitely reached for Jones. He definitely reached for Barkley. He definitely reached for Dexter Lawrence. I don't really know if you could say he reached for Kadarius Toney. I don't know where Kadarius Toney was going to end up. I don't think he reached there. I think that was about where he's going. Urban Meyer said that he wanted Kadarius Toney. I don't know if that's true or not. Jacksonville picked a couple of picks afterwards, so I'm not going to say he reached for Kadarius Toney at 20. But Gano is definitely the MVP for the Giants. There's no doubt about that. I'll never be upset that Landon Collins was complete overrated trash. I never understood the love affair with Landon Collins. The last 3 years, Landon Collins was a Giant. He had 1 interception. That interception was off the arm of Travis Kelce on a trick play against Kansas City in 2017. Landon Collins got beat constantly. He was terrible in coverage. I remember a game Monday night against San Francisco. I watched George Kittle undress him on national television. And we got a compensatory pick. So we didn't let him walk for anything. We got a compensatory pick for him. He was terrible. And then the Washington completely overpaid him. Washington gave that guy $84 million. That guy wasn't close to $84 million. There's no way the Giants are going to give him $14 million a year. That was a terrible contract. He never lived up to that in Washington. Washington did that with Josh Norman, too. They overpaid these secondary guys that are no good. Des, thank you. Appreciate it. He says, no, Reese doesn't make the picks. Chris Mara makes the picks. He's in charge of player personnel. He started out as a scout. Then why do we have a GM? What was Reese's point of being here? if the GMs don't make the pick, so then I guess Gettleman doesn't make the picks, right? Chris Mara's still there. So Gettleman don't make the picks either. So I guess we can't kill Gettleman either. So Gettleman didn't do anything wrong. Reese didn't do anything wrong. It's all Chris Mara. Is that what you're saying? Because I don't understand. Reese doesn't make, then I guess Gettleman doesn't make the picks. Because Chris Mara's still there. So why would they have Chris Mara making Reese's picks and then say, okay, Chris, you're not picking anymore. We're going to let Gettleman do it. So I don't understand that. And I've never heard of Chris Mara making the picks, but actually he wasn't. Landon Collins had a really good first 8 games of the year in 2016. Right place, right time with a couple of those interceptions. Great game against the Rams in London. Great game against the Rams in London. First 8 games, all pro. Actually, he might have ended up being an all pro that year, or he was second team all pro. First 8 games, amazing. Last 8 games, below average. Look at him. He really fell off the last half of the season. Didn't have another interception. Didn't have a lot of tackles. He was a box safety. He's a lot like Jabril Peppers. That's where I always screamed the Giants should play Landon Collins at moneybacker. They should have used him like Dion Buchanan was used in Arizona. I thought that the closer Landon Collins was to the line of scrimmage, the better he was. But he couldn't cover. He was not a good coverage safety at all. He got burned so many times. I mean, just remember when we played Washington at the end of 2019? And we put up, 35 or 42, 41 against them in overtime? Caden Smith had the game-winning touchdown. Backup tight end beat Landon Collins like a government mule in the back of the end zone for the game winner. Landon Collins ain't any good. I hated Landon Collins. Didn't like Landon Collins at all. Darian, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. He says, would you go edge O-lineman or O-line twice in the draft? Also, would you trade up would not trade up in this draft. We need all the draft picks we can get, Darian. I don't want to give up draft capital. I would be fine with edge and O-lineman or O-line twice. As long as they address the line of scrimmage, I don't care. We definitely need at least one offensive lineman, though. But I will have no problem if they want. If Evan Neal fell and we got Neal and Linderbaum, I'd be thrilled. If we got Linderbaum and Thibodeau, I'd be thrilled. Hutchinson's not falling here. Hutchinson's going to go to Detroit. Detroit might not pick first now. But I can see Hutchinson going to Detroit. He plays at Michigan. So, but I wouldn't trade up for those. But if one of them fell to us, I would definitely take them. But I would also go offensive line twice. I have no problem with either one of those. Yeah, if we got both of those guys, I'd be very happy too. Jacksonville does have I still have a feeling Evan Neal's going there. Just because you got Trevor Lawrence, you're going to want to protect him. Like, I feel like Jacksonville really needs to build that line for him. He's your first overall pick. He's your quarterback. He's supposed to be your future. I think it would be a mistake if they went Hutchinson number 1. I really do. I really feel like Jacksonville has to address their offensive line. And for Jacksonville, it's unlucky for them that for the first time in a long time, there's really not a quarterback prospect that is going to be drafted number 1 overall. That really hurts them because they have their quarterback. So say Bryce Young was coming out this year and a team really, because Jacksonville doesn't need a quarterback, they could have traded back and got a ton of draft capital for that number 1 pick if somebody really wanted a stud quarterback. But there's no quarterback in this draft class that's worth the number 1 pick. So they kind of get unlucky there. Des, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. He says, WFAN says the Mariners are meddling owners. That's a fact. They are. Carl Banks had to bite his tongue. He knows gas figureheads. Yeah, no, listen. Well, Banks works for the Giants, but Banks, if you listen to if you listen to Carl Banks call a Giants game on the radio, Bob Papa, he's not going to say anything about Mara, but he will definitely rip the team. He will definitely. I mean, he's the one that coined the phrase "Danny donations." Banks holds no punches back on the radio, but he's not going to call out the owners. But you're right; they are meddler. You're absolutely right, Des. That's the problem. That's the problem. They are too involved in the football operations. They need to step back. They need to hire a GM, and they need to say, okay, we're going to sign the checks. We're going to take care of the business side of the Giants. You get the football people. You get the players. You get the coaches. You take control of the football operations, what goes on in that field. I'll take care of the business aspect. That's what he needs to do. When Jerry Jones was meddling with the Cowboys all those years, they didn't do anything. When he stepped back and let Stephen Jones handle it, they got better. Al Davis, God rest Al Davis' soul. Al Davis was one of the most shrewd minds in NFL history, but he started to lose it because these old guys don't transition with the newer philosophy of football. So when they keep thinking things are going to work from when they started, like John Mara still thinks it's 1986. Well, it isn't. Al Davis, at the end of his career, still thought it was 1976, and it wasn't. So the philosophies in 1986, they don't work today. So the philosophies in 1976 for Al Davis didn't work in 2000. Well, actually, the Raiders did make a Super Bowl in 2002, but they were not working in 2006, 2007. The Raiders are terrible. So that's the biggest problem. These guys, these relics, they got to get into the 21st century of football. Game is still one of the trenches, but you need a quarterback that elevates play, man. It's about the quarterback now. Running is still a big part of the game, but you don't have 3 yards in a cloud of dust. You're not going to see running backs carrying the ball 41 times for 140 yards, unless you're Derrick Henry. He's an anomaly. But that's not going to happen anymore. There are no more John Riggins. That doesn't happen. There's none of those. There are no more Rodney Hamptons, 34 carries for 113 yards. You don't see that there are no more Earl Campbells. Like that doesn't exist. There are no more Eric Dickersons. That just doesn't exist anymore. There's quarterbacks, and these quarterbacks have to be mobile. They have to move. Daniel Jones can run on a scripted running play, but he's not a scrambler. There's a lot of things that John Mara don't understand about the modern day football. And I don't like analytics, but you got to use them at some point. Spin City, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Tank for Bryce Young 2022. Well, yeah, I'd be fine with Bryce Young. And you know what? Spin City, we might not even have to tank because all we got to do is play good old-fashioned Giants football. And I'll tell you this, if they bring Joe Judge back here and they hire an intern, an in-house GM, I don't need a tank. We're going to suck anyway. Unfortunately, I don't know, man. But yeah, if we are bad in 2022 and we can get Bryce Young in 2023, I'm game. Because Daniel Jones ain't going to be here. That I know. There's no way the Giants are giving him $21 million. So that he is not going to be here in 2023. Jatan, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Opinions on the upcoming draft this year. Well, I don't know about next year's draft. Like we were just talking about it. The Giants are bad, and they have a chance to get a guy like Bryce Young. And again, there's always a quarterback that hops up out of nowhere. This year, going into the college football season, everybody was talking about Sam Howell and Spencer Rattler are the Heisman favorites. Nobody really mentioned Bryce Young, and we saw Bryce Young did. So, and even Joe Burrow, nobody knew who the hell Joe Burrow was before his last year at LSU. So there's always kind of guys that really take off. But looking at it this year, yeah, if you can get a Bryce Young, I'm fine with that. This year's draft, like I said, we have to address the line of scrimmage. Whether that's an offensive lineman and a defensive end, whether that's 2 offensive linemen, we have to go there. We have to do that. We have got to do that. If the Giants win 3 offensive linemen in their first 3 picks, I'm not going to be upset. Dallas's defense was terrible last year. How many picks did Dallas spend on defense in this draft? I don't think Dallas took an offensive player to like the 5th or 6th round last year. It was all defense. And guess what? Their defense is a lot better because they understood the weak spot. They addressed it in the draft. Tons of defensive players, including Defensive Rookie of the Year, Micah Parsons. I wanted the Giants draft really badly. But I don't know. Does Jackie who? Who's Jackie? Jackie need a beating? Who's Jackie? Who's Jackie? Who's Jackie? No, that's who's Johnny from El DeBarge back in 1986. No, Parsons didn't do anything against the Giants, but there's no denying the man had a great so he didn't do anything against the Giants. Who's the Defensive Rookie of the Year if it's not Micah Parsons? Micah Parsons, he's not the Defensive Player of the Year. He's the Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's not Lawrence Taylor. He ain't gonna do that. What's that gonna hear? Yeah, I know DeBarge songs. I grew up in the 80s. I grew up in that era. Do I think the Giants should re-sign Barkley? Absolutely not. No way in hell. No way in hell. No. Like I said, I've mentioned this a couple of times in this. If Barkley comes back here and you want to if he wants to take a short-term deal with very little guaranteed money, and it's an incentive-laden contract where you give him 2 years, $20 million, and maybe with incentives, he can get up to $30 million. If he rushes for 1,000 yards, he gets $5 million. If he rushes for 10 touchdowns, he gets $5 million. Something like that. If he plays 16 games, he gets $5 million. You want to do stuff like that, that's incentive-laden so that he needs to produce to get his money, I'm game. I will not, under any circumstances, give Saquon Barkley 4 years, $60 million. 4 years, $80 million. Whatever the hell the top running backs make. We'll not do that. We'll not give Barkley 4 years, $60 million and $32 million guaranteed or $42 million guaranteed. No way, no how. Don't trust him. Always hurt. Explosiveness is gone. No way. Maybe next year things are different. Maybe next year, whatever. Maybe he returns to form. I haven't seen anything that's going to show me he's going to return to form, but I am not giving that guy a long-term deal. No way. I don't trust him. He's injured. It's not his fault. He's got bad luck, but he's injured regardless. Billy, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you, brother. He says, hey, man, I love your content. You're a bit harsh on Shep. He started off pretty well here. He was a key piece in 2016, but injuries concern is true. Shepard, listen, I love Shep coming out of Oklahoma. I was extremely thrilled when we got Shepard. Shepard was a disappointment. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Injuries happen. That sucks. He's not on the field. Can't help the team if he's not on the field. The best ability is availability. Shep also had a lot of drop passes here. Shepard, in Oklahoma, Shepard was a massive weapon. Now, maybe this is the way the Giants used him. Maybe it was. I don't know. When Shepard came out of Oklahoma, I felt like Shepard could actually be like Victor Cruz. He never lived up to that. So maybe my expectations for Shepard were a little bit too high because I watched him play at OU, and he was amazing there. But I felt like he had too many drops. And again, the injury stuff, there's nothing you can do about it. I understand that. He had bad luck, obviously, with this Achilles tendon. He's played his last game with the Giants, in my opinion. It's a shame. But to me, he was a disappointment, even when he was healthy. I don't feel like Shepard ever made the impact that I felt like he should have made here. He was really, really good at Oklahoma. Like, you guys, if you didn't watch him play at OU, he was something special, and it just never materialized here. So wherever Shepard ends up going, I'll wish him nothing but the best. I almost bought a Shepard jersey because I love the guy, but what can you do? I mean, you look at his numbers, they're not very good. They're not very impactful. I mean, how many touchdowns does Shepard have for the Giants in his career? 10? 15? In 5 years? 6 years? He never really produced at a high level. he was a decent slot receiver when he was a rookie. He did do good his rookie year, but that was kind of the end of it, unfortunately. MetLife Stadium is garbage. Someone said I blame MetLife Stadium. MetLife Stadium is a trash heap. Sucks. I hate our stadium. Hate it. It's terrible. It's ugly as hell. The turf is trash. Paid $1.5 billion for that garbage. Both teams in there are terrible. Just tear that damn thing. Just pick that thing up and throw it in the Hudson River, please. Rebuild something. We need to rebuild our teams. We need to rebuild our damn stadium too. That thing sucks. I would rather have that old dump at the Meadowlands any day over MetLife Stadium. And that was really bad turf. It's still better than the turf that the Giants have there now. Yes, the Bears did lose. I was watching that game. They did lose. This happens to everybody. Shep got married and fell off. You know who else fell off? Anthony Davis. He got married and fell off. Something about getting married. Something about getting married to these guys. Unless you're Tom Brady. Tom Brady never falls off. But there's something about getting married and falling off. Kids, wife, get a little softer. Happened to me too. Happened to me too. Can you imagine the edge I would have had? You can imagine the edge I had when I was, before I met my wife? That's why they call me Bad Dog. I still have a very hard edge to me, but I settled down a ton. When I was young, when I was younger, I was quite a few experiences in my life. We'll just put it that way. And now, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. So, with the quarterback situation next year, your guess is as good as mine. I think Jones is coming back for year 4. I made a video that I said I believe Jones should come back for year 4. I don't want to trade for Russell Wilson. I do not want to give up first-round picks for an aging quarterback when we have so many holes in this team. I don't want to do that. I just don't. I don't want to do that. Maybe you bring in a guy like somebody mentioned, Huntley from Baltimore, to compete with Daniel Jones, a guy that's not going to cost you a lot of money. Maybe you do that. But in my opinion, if you're going to bring back Joe Judge and you're going to kind of hire an in-house GM, you're going to have the same damn team, you might as well Daniel Jones go down with the ship and start over in 2023 when there's better quarterbacks coming out of the draft. I don't like any of these quarterbacks in this draft class at all. And in my opinion, address the offensive line hard and heavy this year. See if Daniel Jones can produce behind the offensive line. And if he's really good, if Daniel Jones is really good in 2022 because the offensive line was the problem, you don't need to pick up his 5th-year option, but you can give him a contract if you think he's the guy. And if he's not the guy behind a good offensive line, then you address the quarterback situation and you start over. You're not paying Jones a ton of money. So that's kind of my thoughts on the quarterback situation. My opinion, gut feeling, Jones will be back. And I think that he should be the starter in 2022, not because I feel like he's going to lead us to the promised land, but I don't think the Giants are going to be any good next year if everything remains the same outside of them getting rid of Gettleman. I just don't. I don't see us getting better. I don't see this team being better. We're going to have pretty much the same team. We're going to have the same coach. We have the same quarterback. You might as well have another bad year. I don't know what else to say, man. William, thank you for the $1. Boom! I appreciate it. Dominic, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you, brother. What moves do the Yanks make besides sitting around with their thumbs up there? You know what? Yeah. Carlos Correa, Trevor Story for starters. Freddie Freeman. How about that? How about you go out and you spend a ton of money like the Yankees do and get you a Freddie Freeman and a Trevor Story or Carlos Correa? How about that? Pony up some cash, cheapskate Hal. Stop pinching pennies and trying to lower the luxury tax cap. Yankees are a joke. Hal's a penny pincher, man. Stop worrying about getting under that. I have never in my life heard about the Yankees having a salary dump. How the hell we got to get rid of Luis Cessa, save $3 million. Are you kidding me? You got rid of your best middle reliever to save money? joke. All the New York owners are bad. Maybe this guy with the Mets, at least he's trying. He's going the old George Steinbrenner. I'm going to buy every freaking free agent I can get to make this team relevant. Good for him. Good for the Mets. The one thing I'll say about James Dolan, he does own the Rangers as well. The Rangers are pretty damn good, but I don't think Dolan really has much to do with the Rangers. He has a lot to do with the Knicks. I don't think he has a lot to do with the Rangers, though. But we got some bad owners here in New York. Hal sucks. It's terrible. No. Ed Dodds is a name that comes up a lot. Ed Dodds is a name that comes up. I kind of like Joe Brady myself. As an offensive coordinator, but Steve Cohen's doing a good job. Why not? Well, they haven't really been good for years. They're really young. They had a pretty good year last year. They were almost in the playoffs. They were in the playoffs a couple of years ago. They were then they got knocked out in the first round. So they've been okay. They were good in 2008, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. They were pretty good. Then they kind of fell off, and now they're starting to get it back because of the young players, So they're getting back. But the Rangers have won one Stanley Cup in 81 years. They've won one cup since 1940. There was a big chant, and when they won it in 1994, they didn't have to hear 1940 anymore. But they should have beat the Kings in 2014. They had a 2-goal lead in games 1 and 2, and they blew them. They actually had a 2-goal lead twice in game 2. There was a really bad penalty called against the Rangers. That was a garbage. There was a ridiculous penalty, and the Kings ended up tying it on the power play, and the Rangers ended up losing. But hopefully the Rangers can do something. They're the only hope for New York. Maybe the Mets, but they're the only hope for New York right now. William, thank you for the super chat, brother. Appreciate you. Yeah, I would take Huntley as a guy to bring in and give Daniel Jones some competition. I don't think Huntley would be our future quarterback, but if you want to bring him in here as a backup, we definitely need a serviceable backup. We all know Daniel Jones has had a hard time staying healthy. Daniel Jones has never gotten through a full season without being hurt. Right? Ankle injuries twice, and now the neck got concussed. So yeah, I'm all about upgrading our backup for sure. Maybe Jake Fromm shows us something in the next 3 games, and he can be the backup next year. We're gonna see. Jake Fromm better be starting this game against Philadelphia. There is absolutely no reason for Glennon to start. None. I'll be pissed if Glennon is starting. Not because I think we can win with Fromm, but I think you might as well take a look at Fromm. We know what Glennon is. Glennon ain't the future here. When do I sleep? I'm going to end this in a couple of minutes. I took tomorrow off of work. Anyway, I took a personal day. I already called in. I don't ever do that. It's the first day I've taken off all year. So I'm on vacation next week, but I don't sleep a lot. I would say I'll sleep when I'm dead. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Yeah, New York sports has been bad. It's been bad. It has definitely been bad. I hope so, Charles. I hope so. I would love to see it. We got to get Shesty back. Gorgiev's done a pretty decent job, but we need Shesterkin back. Lavinier is still young, so I'm not gonna kill Laugh yet. But Lavinier's been a disappointment so far. Conco's actually starting to play a little bit better. Chris Kreider's the man. I love Adam Fox. Adam Fox is my guy. I always say I'm more of a casual Rangers guy. Like if the Rangers do win the cup, I'm not going to sit there and celebrate, be like, woo. I'll be very happy. I do watch a lot more Rangers games because of Hot Take Hockey. Hot Take Hockey got me back into hockey. Watching his passion for hockey got me back into watching the Rangers. But Adam Fox is my dude. I freaking love Adam Fox. If I was ever going to buy a Rangers jersey, I'd buy an Adam Fox jersey. Adam Fox is the man. Freaking love Adam Fox. It's pretty amazing. I had Adam Fox and Shesterkin in 2019. Islanders have been a disappointment this year. Islanders have struggled this year. They were close the last couple of years when they were in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? And they couldn't win. The Dayman back in the house. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you, man. It has been a while. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, Bad Dog, I haven't been around for a while. You ain't missing anything, buddy. He says, because seeing anything New York Giants nowadays just makes me sick. I don't blame you. Makes me sick, too. Much love to you, brother. Thank you, Damon. Good to see you, man. I hope you're doing well. I hope everything outside of the Giants is going well for you in your everyday life. But yes, you're right. That's what I said on Twitter. The Giants ought to be given, they should have been giving away Pepto-Bismol. Pepto-Bismol, the official drink of the New York Giants. Because they do. They make us sick. I know, Punk, what's going on. Thank you. Good. That's a good question. It's a good question. The Red Wings are terrible this year. The Pistons are trash. Tigers, wow. You know, I might have to go with Detroit. I might have to go with Detroit because at least with New York, the Rangers are good. The Mets definitely have a lot of promises. We'll see if they do. The Mets have a lot of promise a lot of years, and they don't quite get it done. Then the Yankees are always competitive. So it might be Detroit. It might be Detroit. But let me get out of here, guys and girls. I do appreciate you being here. Oh, let's show this. I love this right here. Look at this. That is DJ's fault. Look at this. Look at this. This is a 13-year-old kid that should be in bed and be getting ready for school tomorrow. Look at this. Look at that. Look at this. Look at the grammar, the spelling. Look at this. This is the problem with today's society. Look at this thing. Mr. Looser Dog. What is a looser dog? I'm looser? Looser than what? Like I have loose in my belt? And what is Fout? This is DJ's Fout. What is that word? What is F-A-L-T? What does Fout mean? Mr. Looser, you're trying to call me a loser and you don't know how to spell that? Is that what that is? Mr. Looser Dog? And this is DJ's Fout. Yeah. You have a bright future. You have a bright future. Yeah. You're going to be pumping gas in Jersey. Irish Rover, thank you for the super chat, brother. I appreciate you. He says, thanks for the therapy tonight. Keep the faith, my brother. Well, I think I appreciate it, Irish Rover. Thank you, sir. But it's hard to have. We got no more faith in the season. We'll always be Giants fans, but it's hard to have any. It's hard to have faith right now. But you know what? We got 3 weeks left. We're gonna go to Sundays back. We'll take some time off. Get ready for the draft. We'll talk about all the offseason changes when they happen. And then we'll prepare for April and the draft. And then we'll look forward to OTAs, minicamp, all that stuff. And we'll hope 2022 is better. That's all we can do right. But I do appreciate you guys, girls, being here. Thank you so much. If I don't see you for the Lakers game tomorrow, enjoy the rest of your Monday. If there's any Monday left, enjoy your Tuesday. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for the Lakers and the Suns. Thank you for being here, guys. Really do appreciate the support. You're the best. Have a good night, everybody. Bad Digga Dizzle. Gone.